Yeah. So
Okay, Ring Ropes and Turnbuckle podcast coming up next. We talk about the state of professional wrestling with special guest Dedrian City of Rasslin.
Following podcast scheduled for one fall. Introducing first, they are the Internet Podcast.
Ring Ropes and Turnbuckle podcast, we back. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell for more content. It's your boys, podcast tag team champions of the world. The insightful S. Scott Bars Wrestling Media, and the dynamic Salute Darkwing Dub. Special guest, Dedrian City of Rasslin. Let's give a round of applause.
thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me. It is a pleasure and everything. And the topic that you gave me was like, okay, interesting to think about and everything. But it's a great topic. It's a pleasure to be on this podcast. You guys are doing a tremendous work, and your fandom and just chill about your fandom and everything. It comes across your content and everything. So it's very welcoming, engaging, and just escapism, where I could just get into it and just take my mind off of things for a few minutes or hours or what have you.
We appreciate it, man. We appreciate it. How do
Means
we
a
get
lot. Means a lot.
Yes, there's a lot. There's a lot. The 145 promotions, like we were talking about before we went on the air.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's just. Well, go ahead.
No. You good? I was just gonna try to get right into it.
No, I just want to say it's just just us trying to stay locked in and not worried about the outside interference, just focusing on the actual content itself, and just going from there. But we appreciate it, man. We just gonna keep going, see how far we can go. Yeah. Go ahead, Dynamic. It's on you.
So I brought this up to my brother right before I messaged you on TikTok, and I was like, I want to do either a monthly or a bi-monthly, just like state of wrestling show, just to see where we're at wrestling wise. And two people came to mind, you and Light Skin Gaijin. Well, we've had Light Skin Gaijin on the show. He actually popped up on us with frontman Josh C from Ashe Wrestling. I'm like, you know what? The perfect person for this actually would be Dedrian, because I see like you send those your rankings, your wrestler rankings. You see a show and then you'll like I think the last one was All Out, and you put at the top of it good and good and exciting or whatever, and you rank all the matches. Like Dedrian would be perfect for this. So before we get into that, tell us and tell the audience how you actually got into doing that kind of commentary.
Oh man. Man, we got 5 hours. No, I'm joking. No, it ain't gonna take 5 hours or anything like that. There's some more wrestling I gotta see, and I gotta get some sleep. But no, man, you know what? It just started. It was a snowball effect. Like I came across on my Facebook memories a couple days ago. Like I just had a graphic. I didn't even have the video or anything like that. It was just like an old raw, and I gave a letter grade, and it was more so because I just started seeing a lot of people when I started in 2021, right around when CM Punk was in AEW, and I just started seeing people give a lot of reviews that weren't objective, and just informing the wrestling fan and everything. And I've done interviews for or reviews for movies, songs, my broadcasting background, and I'm like, you know what? I've gotten pretty good reviews from from my stuff previous before doing City of Rasslin. I'm like, you know what? I should actually start doing reviews and just giving it a fair, thing like that. And it just snowballed from a graphic to video, and that went along the lines of what was being incorporated with social media and like reels, TikToks, YouTube reels, and everything. So I'm like, okay, I got to change with the times. Okay, this is where it's going. Okay, I could do this, add this. Okay, go there, and it's just all about informing you guys. Like if you missed the show or bars missed the show, and you guys follow me, you're like, oh wow, okay, this who won? Okay, I see this image, this review. Oh man, let me check it out. That's all. That's all it is. If you follow me or not, hey, that's subjective. I might be some people's cup of tea. I might not be a cup of tea. But as long as you come across and you get informed or something like that, then that's all. That's my main goal and everything. So that's what it is. It just snowballed into um, a little graphic with a letter grade, and at the time House of Wrestling, and that whole thing, and like I think was it 9 or 12 pictures from the show, and that was it. And then it just snowballed into doing 45-minute reviews and the results and ratings and reviews and stuff like that. So it just snowballed, man.
You're mute. You're muted. Oh, there you go.
My bad. I'm over here talking.
Hey, we're live. We're live.
We're
that was
live.
supposed to happen. We're live. That was supposed to happen.
But if you're just getting into wrestling, people, and you don't know what's been going on, follow my brother up here, Dedrian City of Rasslin, and he'll get you caught up. How'd you come up with pretty much doing your own PWI list?
It's funny because I started okay, what was it? 2020. I wasn't a part of a podcast or anything. I just had top 50 wrestlers. And then when I started the following year in 2021, I was like, you know what, let me do, I think I went to 100. And then I'm like, man, I'm covering more wrestlers. I got to bump this list up to like 200. So I bumped it up to 200. And now I'm going to announce on here, I am in the process of working in, and before I announce this, the difference between my list and PWI's list is that they rank wrestlers according to what they did in the current year. Mm-hmm. My list is projecting the top wrestlers going into next year. So this is more of a projection list of wrestlers. Hey, you need to keep an eye on this. And I have the criteria, like my last video, the top 200 wrestlers of 2025, and right in the beginning is the criteria. It's a very basic criteria, fan involvement, or the fan reaction, how they're presented in the promotion. One of the key things I look at is future dream matches or unique matches. Like, what's the possibility? Like, what's the possibility of it? Is it high or low? If it's higher, no, you got to be on this list, because if you have a lot of potential dream matches and unique matches going into the next year, no, you're gonna be here. And then of course, just their body of work, and it's like, okay, I can see them here. No, they're gonna go there. So that's why I do it. But no, going into 2026, I am in the process of working on. Man, it's gonna be a long time, but I'm gonna get it done before December 31st. I am working on the top 400 wrestlers for 2026.
Wow.
Y'all hear that? 400. That's just 100 less than the PWI list. So this man watches a lot of wrestling. A lot. And you got to watch a lot of wrestling in order to do this.
Yes. So one of the things also about my list that's different is that, how PWI has like the men's list and the women's list? My list is everyone, men and women. So it ain't ranked, oh, you got the men's list over here. Nah, everybody's on this list, because at the end of the day, when we're watching wrestling, whether it's WWE, AEW, you're tuning in for wrestlers. Not, oh, I like men's wrestlers. I don't like, nah. You're tuning into wrestlers and who draws and everything. Because quite frankly, like for instance in WWE, for me personally, the one person that sticks out as probably the top like person that's just that meets that criteria is Rhea Ripley. Like she covered male and female fans. That just she's a draw and everything. So I mean, is it is it fair to like, oh well, she needs to be in another list and she need no. You got men and women that are fans of both men and women wrestlers. So put
Mm-hmm.
them all together and everything. So actually I think I have at least I started on the list. So I think I'm at like 350 right now.
Golly.
Hmm.
You still
Yeah.
got 50 more to go? That's
Yeah.
good luck, bro. Good luck.
it takes me when I've done that list, it's so we're heading into October. It literally takes me 2 months to just go through the criteria and just because sometimes I'll have someone like in like the top 20, and then as the next month goes, they go from 20 to 40, and then someone that's in like two uh or one was it 150, they jump up to like 90 and everything. So it's all about how the promotions leave them in December, because usually you can get an idea of how they leave them in December where they're going to be at going into next year. So I leave it till like the last week of December. So I'm looking forward to it. I know you guys are gonna be like, damn, how much wrestling did you watch? Like, man.
This is why I said you'd be the perfect person for this show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I appreciate it, man.
Well, let's go ahead and get started then. So I know you watched WWE Limited, so let's go ahead and get them out of the way. If you could give a state of WWE right now, what would that sound like to you?
Man, you know what? Um, me be so actually the first wrestling match I saw that got me into wrestling was the Iron Sheik Hulk Hogan 1983 when everything shifted when Hulkamania was pretty much born. So I've pretty much grown up with WWE, but once it got the SummerSlam night 2, that's when it just really like, you know what? There's a lot of real life stuff that's being either dismissed, ignored, and it's like it I didn't feel comfortable watching WWE television because it's like you have a guy on here you're bringing back that's named in a lawsuit. Let me raise that, not any lawsuit, a sex trafficking lawsuit 44 times. So you're bringing him in, then you kind of like it was kind of like borderline exploiting the or sensationalizing the death of Hulk Hogan, whereas like you continuously held tributes, and I'm like, it's like okay, I get the honoring, but I'm like, mm. Then of course you have the chief creative officer Triple H, in our nation's capital, coming out of the White House doing his entrance, spitting water, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of like I'm like, no, I can't, I just couldn't rock with it anymore. I'm like, no, I can't do it. And it's sad because of so many people that grew up with WWE and not only just grew up with WWE, but more so grew up with it in urban settings. Like I grew up in the,
Mhm.
West Humboldt Park area of Chicago, which is predominantly black and Latinos. We grew up with WWE. We grew up with WCW and everything. So it's just like, man, you can't, you know, man, what's going on? Like, are you guys deviating from like your fan base? Also, the ticket prices. You're pricing out your fan base. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you had all these things up, and it's just like, man, I can't rock with this company. I got good memories. It's memorable matches and stuff like that. But I'm like, you know what? You know, there's a favorite scripture of mine. When I was a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child, but when I became a man, I put childish things away. So
Yeah.
that's how I looked at it. And if I were to describe the state of pro wrestling, oh man, I would say it is a reflection of our country. I think there's no better way to put it. It's just a reflection of our country. And it's sad. If people don't like the tribalism, well, look outside wrestling. What the hell you see? So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
sad because growing up with this art form, it's a beautiful art form. It's an interesting art form. It's a very engaging art form. It's one of the oldest art forms in the world. Um, the story is very simple: good versus evil. Then you have, the character that's in between, that's gray, where it's like, okay, are they good? Are they evil? Are they battling, internally, the good versus evil thing? The angel here and the devil here, and it's like that whole thing. So it's a, that's where it's at, and it's unfortunate because there's a lot of people that are like just very genuine wrestling fans that don't know the things outside that are happening. That is just like, man, this is, and I feel for them because they just watch it to be
Mhm.
entertained, but then it's just like, man, this is not what I grew up on. And granted, things evolve, but it's just like, man, it's like this the same escapism or entertaining anymore, man.
You brought up an interesting thing, pricing out families, right? Like me and him were talking on a show not that long ago, and I was like, "There's a lot of things we can criticize Vince McMahon for. There's a lot of things,
Yeah,
but when the people that actually bought the company from Vince McMahon came out and said, "Well, Vince McMahon was pricing it for the families," I'm like, "Well, that's one thing we can actually give Vince McMahon credit for is that
yeah,
he knew that the crutch of wrestling is going to be the families, like because that it gets passed down from generation.
yes,
Like,
yes,
like he knows, like my very first match I watched was a WWE match, and I was sitting with my father. And now I watch it, and my
yeah,
son, my 5-year-old son, sits right next to me as I'm watching it.
Mhm.
yeah,
So he understood that, and he kept the prices to where families could afford it. And then TKO comes in, and was like, "Nah, player, we ain't doing that no more."
uh, we want
So
that
I
money.
find that yeah, I find that very interesting. Like there, and that's why I was telling him if there's a lot of stuff that we could criticize Vince McMahon for, but sometimes we do have to get credit when credit is due, and that's one of the things that he didn't price out the families.
Yeah, and that's a thing. His dad didn't price out families. The Crockett's didn't price out families. ECW with Paul Heyman didn't price out families, and I know like ECW. Yes, there was families there, aka Tony Khan as a 13-year-old in the crowd watching
Hmm.
ECW in the arena.
Mhm.
Um, World Class Championship Wrestling didn't price out families. The AWA with the Vern Gagne didn't price out families. Memphis with the Jerry Jarrett didn't price out families. Barnett and Mid Atlantic, it goes back 100 years. It was all family oriented and everything. When you seen Gorgeous George, wrestle Jesse James or something like that, it was families there. Granted, there wasn't a lot of us people in the audience, so that's a whole nother discussion. But you
Yeah,
had families there, and
Mhm.
like you mentioned, like your first wrestling match you saw with your dad, like the first wrestling match that I mentioned, I was watching, Hulk Hogan and Iron Sheik. I was actually in the little, like, not the walker, but like I was starting to walk, and it was with my dad. We were watching it, and then a few either months or weeks later, we're watching the AWA, and these two big muscle bound dudes with mohawks and face paint on with dog collars just start screaming, and it was the Road Warriors. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm scared. I'm like, oh my god, I ran from him, but then I became family. But it's the whole thing. Like this is a generational thing that gets passed on from generation to generation, and there's an old saying, and you guys know this outside of wrestling. It's a business saying: don't try to reinvent the wheel, because anytime someone tries to reinvent the wheel, they fail. And it's like wrestling. There's nothing wrong with wrestling. You got to do some tweaks and everything because you got to adjust with societal changes and pop culture changes and everything. But at the end of the day, it's entertainment. We don't have the circus anymore. I mean, you have Circus Olay and everything, but you don't have Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus.
right.
You don't have that spectacle event. So wrestling is that last spectacle event. But once you start pricing out families, you know, they're gonna go elsewhere, and by elsewhere, other promotions, indie promotions, and I can tell you, watching all these other promotions, whether it's a few videos on YouTube or a show and stuff like that, a lot of the creativity that they're lacking in WWE is in all these other promotions. And it's like, you need to focus on the most important thing and not those profits. Because if it ain't clicking creatively, they ain't watching, they ain't going. So,
Yeah, that's very true. When you speaking about as far as memories, wrestling memories and stuff like that, my actual first show was WrestleMania.
hmm,
Uh, WrestleMania came to Atlantic City, and I believe I was about like maybe 5 or 6 years old. And
okay.
What was that, WrestleMania 1?
nah, this guy, yo.
Oh my lord!
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah,
it
yeah.
WrestleMania 4 or 5?
I think it was between 4 or 5. Between four or
Okay.
five, they came to AC, and they were at the Trump Plaza. So what WWF did at the time, they were, for all the casino workers, they were lowering the price of tickets for them to come to the event. So everybody that worked in the casino, it didn't matter what casino you worked in. It didn't matter if you was at Bally's, Tropicana, wherever, Caesars, wherever. You was gonna get in for half the cost, or you was gonna get in for free. That's how they were doing it back then, or at least for that particular time. So I was front row WrestleMania. You know what I'm saying? With my mother. My mother was a
Yo,
big wrestling fan.
I gotta go back and watch that and
Yeah, I
see if I
was.
can spot you.
Yeah, no facial hair, little kid, little kid. I ain't wearing no glasses at the time,
Wait a minute,
so
so you were by the ring?
yeah, yeah. I
Okay, so
was.
you were, because I remember the tunnel, like, man, that was a long staircase and everything. So
Yeah,
you're ringside. Okay, I gotta check
hmm
that out. I gotta
yeah.
watch that.
So I remember all the stuff that y'all talking about, and it's just funny because every time I think of that particular WrestleMania, I always think of my mother because God rest
Mm.
her soul. We
See that?
watching we was watching wrestling faithfully, and that's what kind of connected me and draw me even more to professional wrestling. Now, mind you, I started
Yeah.
watching wrestling when I was like 3. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
between 2 or 3, I started watching wrestling young, not just because of the Hogans and Warriors or whatever like that. My uncle was a professional wrestler in Nigeria. So right
Oh
then and there,
wow.
yeah. So right then and there, when my mother was always talking wrestling, she'll mention my uncle, show me the pictures. Then I was like, yeah, this is my sport. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Right
dope.
next to Kung Fu Theater or whatever.
Yeah.
in the A team, because if you was watching wrestling around my area at that time, you had Kung Fu Theater. You had what was it called? Superstars of Wrestling that came on Saturday. Then
Yes.
you had Main Event. Then it was Monday Night Raw. But they all came on different days. Main Event at that time wasn't even a wrestling. Wasn't even like they didn't wrestle. It was just basically an interview show. They came on the show. They just talk trash to one
Hmm.
each other. It was basically like a what you call it?
Primetime wrestling.
Yeah, like primetime wrestling, like a late show with David Letterman, something
Yeah.
like that. That's what it was. So it's like remembering all those things. I go on to say this, like, how could you go from that, where you probably had your biggest fan base, and go to this?
Yeah.
You're taking away the hardcore casual fans, the people that were with you since day one. You're taking them out the equation, and you're adding these other fans that are probably just casuals and not going to be with you for the long haul. Because as soon
Hmm.
as you mess up, they're going to be the fans that's going to leave. You've been messing up for the last 10 years, and people like us have still watched you to a certain extent, but you're even going to turn us away. So, like, You know what I'm saying? It's just I just find it weird to me, but
Yeah, it's like the first show that I went to, and I looked it up. God rest his soul, my grandfather on my dad's side. Mind you, very quiet, hardworking Puerto Rican man and everything. Go to work, boom, boom, boom. I till this day, man, he passed away. Oh man, 5 years ago. All my life, I never seen him react the way he did back then when we went to the WWF show. The main event was Hulk Hogan versus Terry Funk. Crazy. That was the main event. And as soon as Hogan came out and he didn't have the Real American thing, he had the Rock and Wrestling cartoon thing,
Mhm.
and it hit. Man, my grandfather, yeah, 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 and I'm like, oh, I'm like, you show emotion, oh, like what? And it's those moments that a lot of people have those connections with their family, and it's generational. At that time, my grandfather's there, my dad's there, and I'm there. So that's three generations right there. So it's like you're gonna price out three generations or four. Now you think about 4 or 5 generations. You're gonna price out 4 or 5 generations so you can get profits. Okay, cool. And it. I mean, it. Man, how do I put this? There will be a backfire
Mhm.
because of doing that. Because with the internet, with wrestling fans talking, and with the various options you have as for professional wrestling fans, they're gonna go where their money's welcomed and everything. And that's the way a lot of fans are looking at it. Is like, if my money's not welcome, then I'll go elsewhere. And
Mhm.
of course, you got fans. I'm still gonna like. I seen something where people are putting WrestleMania tickets on their credit card, like eight
Mm-mm.
thousand dollars.
No way.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
What the?
Mm-mm.
What?
Mm-mm.
What are you
Mm-mm.
thinking?
That
And
gets the
dude,
Shao Kahn laugh. We ain't doing
yeah,
that
it's
over
like,
here. We're not doing that.
yeah, it's like, what you doing? It's like, what is you doing? Like, come on. Like, I'm like, dude, it ain't that serious. Like, no, and you can kind of sense the fan base that they're trying to attract with WWE, and it's not the fan base like us right here, or a fan base that we've grown accustomed to, um, primarily in the last 10, 15 years. Like, it's not that fan base. Like,
Mhm.
I hate to say it, but it's a very pretentious, braggadocious, um, you want to call it bro culture type fan base,
Mhm.
where it ain't family friendly. It's more like, hey, look what I got. You know what? I like to call it like this. I used to do social media for a club promoter. It's kind of similar, but it's like they're trying to attract the people that want to buy a section in the club, show up the bottles and everything, but ain't nobody dancing, and you just want to take pictures and everything and go on social media, but you really ain't doing nothing. That's the type of people they're attracting and everything. That's why, like when I watched WrestleMania this year, and you guys probably see my review, I'm like, the show was lethargic, methodical, soulless, and boring. Like, there's no way to put it. Like, it is what it is. And for me, what I always gauge as far as a wrestling show when I'm watching it on TV, it's not whether it's WWE, AEW, hell, even Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling or um, some of the smaller promotions I've seen on YouTube. It's not necessarily the size of the arena, but the crowd. How do you get them engaged? How do you get? Granted, there's pacing and everything. There's psychology. You start off small and you build up to the finish and everything, and get the crowd. Oh yeah, yeah. That whole thing. But I always look at the crowd, and I'm sorry for an event the size of WrestleMania to have fans like this with their hands like this and just sitting there, no reaction or nothing. I'm like, that's not a good look. Like, these guys are doing all these spots and they're just like, granted, Ed said it a few years ago that a lot of those stadium shows that when the crowd makes a noise, it goes up.
Mhm.
But I'm like, watching this past WrestleMania, I'm like, there's no noise that to go up. Like, there's nothing. And man, that's very concerning. If if I'm a fan of WB, because it's only a matter of time before people start shifting and everything.
Yeah.
I
I got
think Jey Uso actually got the biggest pop of that night. Of the two nights combined, he probably got the biggest
Yeah,
pop, and that was just because he won the championship off of Gunther. But other than
yeah,
that, you are absolutely correct. Like, me and him gave letter grades for it, and it was bad. Just like,
yeah.
don't get me started on this WrestlePalooza nonsense.
yeah.
But no,
Don't get me
it's
started on this WrestlePalooza nonsense.
that's the unfortunate thing about pro wrestling, especially when WB um these shows are projected in that manner because they reflect the industry. So if they're received, like Russellpalooza was average, and
Mm-mm,
people were just like,
mm-mm.
man, this was just boring and lethargic, and you know, Raw and SmackDown is kind of like when you're watching it's becoming like a chore to watch and everything. It reflects on all the other promotions, and the sad thing is the way WB has been presenting itself for the last 20 years. They present themselves like they are the entirely, they're all professional wrestling, and it's like, hey, WB is in a league of their own as far as putting on a very lethargic product. Because you watch all these other promotions, no, it's cooking. You watch CMLL in Arena Mexico, that's cooking. Hell, even AAA, even though WB owns like 50% of it, their shows are cooking. You watch Rev Pro, they're cooking. You watch Stardom, they're cooking. You watch New Japan, yo, them shows are cooking. TJPW, cooking. No, it's like,
Even smaller
okay,
than that, Ashe is
yeah.
cooking.
House of Glory in New York, them them shows in House of Glory are lit. They're lit. So it's like that's the thing that it deters people from checking out other promotions because W's presented, hey, we're the only professional wrestling around. It's like, no, you got to check this out. Oh, but are they like WB? No, check them out. And that's where you're seeing a lot of people checking out an AEW, an NWA, House of Glory. I'm trying to think of the other one. Limitless Pro Wrestling, Prestige Wrestling, Progress Wrestling, Rev Pro, CMLL. What was the other promotions? Forgive me. There's a lot of promotions out there, but you're getting people to check it out all because of YouTube. Oh, let me check out this promotion on YouTube. So that's what's helping. But yeah, man.
What?
Okay, let's do this. So, oh,
Okay.
my bad. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Now I wanted to ask, what do you think about how WWE's monopolizing a lot of the promotions now, particularly with them branching out with the ID program, uh, them basically grasping a AAA, potentially TNA, and there might be some other promotions behind that. What do you think of that? Because basically, they're basically like taking everything and putting them in their circle, their competition. They're putting them in their circle or the competition that they feel is a threat. But the one competition that they're not able to grasp and they probably will never be able to grasp is AEW. So, what do you think about that? And do you think WWE will be able to continue to do that moving forward?
Man, so how do I put this? They're attempting to monopolize because they had a monopoly, but with AEW, actually, you know what? You got to give credit to Ring of Honor and New Japan. They cracked that mold with the Bullet Club in the early
Mm-hmm.
2010s.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what broke that monopoly. Like, it's just it was like what's the old saying? Like when you got the foundation of a house, like you get that little crack. It's like, oh, it's nothing, and you ignore it, and that crack turns into a 7-foot flood in your basement. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh crap, oh damn. But it's not, just using that as an analogy, but they're
Mm-hmm.
attempting to do it. But the key thing is, like we mentioned earlier, if TKO's objective with WBE is to profit over family prices, that kind of goes against trying to monopolize because how was Vince able to beat WCW and ECW?
Mm-hmm.
He never changed his ticket prices. So when it became to as far as a product having a bad product, It was more like, man, this product's bad, but man, I could go see a WB show the same price as WCW and ECW show, but man, they're better. So it's, that level of how he operated in the early 2000s, he clean sweep. But I mean, looking at how TKO is operating with WWE, it's very convoluted and weird, And the thing is that they're doing it in a manner that is very suspect. And what I mean by that is when they acquired or they announced that they acquired AAA on WrestleMania, you guys probably remember a lot of people were saying, how are they able to do that when the merger was finalized in September of 2023? And in that merger, there was an agreement that they couldn't purchase any wrestling promotion for 5 years. It's not 5 years. So how are you able to purchase 50% of a promotion? So it's tactics like that, the counter programming and everything. They're doing it backwards. Like I mentioned this yesterday. It's almost as if with WB and TKO, more primarily WB, it's almost as if Mark Shapiro, Triple H, Nick Khan, they're trying to be more Vince McMahon than Vince McMahon was, instead of establishing what WWE is going to be after Vince McMahon, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. That makes perfect
It's
sense.
like Vince left the template, so they're like, oh, he left the template? Oh, we're going to do the template better than him. And it's like, you should be your own person in this industry, not try to copy. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing a lot of stuff like, I've been saying it for months. WWE right now reminds me of a lot of WCW from late summer 98 to 99 with a lot of things. And mind you, at that time, there was a merger with Time Warner and AOL. And you just saw, the decline and everything. But as far as them monopolizing, man, it's going to be tough because you have a lot of fans that are aware, but also from a societal standpoint, we're witnessing a lot of mergers in the business world that aren't helping us as, consumers and just as citizens and everything. It's not helping us. It's not helping us financially. It's not helping us as far as matching prices and everything, where we have an option and everything. So it's going to be really difficult. The only way they can accomplish that is if they do use underhanded tactics. I'm dead serious. If they use underhanded business tactics, I'm legit.
I feel like the only person that's really accomplishing, taking the Vince McMahon's blueprint and making it their own is AEW. But they're taking the old Vince McMahon blueprint. They're not taking
Mm-hmm.
the one that got updated years later when
Yeah.
you seen him with the Botox on his face and all that. Nah.
Uh,
They're taking
the Pink Panther villain
yeah, right.
with the mustache. I'm going to get you, Pink Panther.
Nah, you're not. They're not taking that blueprint. They're taking the blueprint from back in the day, and they just revamped it. And you can tell within their product, and it works for them because, like I told you before, I could go to an AEW show. I went to 2 of them already, and I was in the front, and the price was legit. So he's taken that formula and he has made it his own. Not to mention, Tony Khan has taken other formulas from other past promotions and made it his own too. Because if you look at AEW, you see a little of New Japan, you see a little of Lucha Libre promotions, both of them, and then you see a little bit of WCW. You see a little bit of your European style, all meshed up together in a melting pot, and that's how they made AEW.
Yeah, it's I've said this before that I think a lot of wrestling fans underestimate and forget that Tony Khan, growing up, because me and him are the same age, so that's why his booking, I get it right away, because I'm like, I know where you got that from. Like, We were kids watching the same thing. I see where you got that from. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
thing. People forget he was a kid that was raised on how the WB expanded. So
Mm-hmm.
all of us, we know the tricks in the trade and the hooks and ladders to everything how it was built. So for him, it's like, hey, okay, I got this money. I'm a wrestling fan, but you know what? I see how this is. And if you guys remember on a few lives on TikTok, I mentioned that WB is going against a lot of principles that got them successful. Like, and the main one that you brought up, Dub, was the ticket prices. Like, why are you going against the thing that was your bread and butter of how people came into like that was the bread and butter that led to the growth of Hulkamania, of
Mm-hmm.
Bret Hart, of
Mm-hmm.
Stone Cold Steve Austin,
Mm-hmm.
of The Rock, John Cena. How do you go against that's what almost four generations right there? Like, how do you go against that? That's the bread and butter. Like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And for them, it's very concerning because for them because you're going against the foundation. You're going against the foundation that your company was built on. And
Mm-hmm.
if you go against that, then what? If you go against your foundation, then what's your identity? And I think we can all agree if you watch WB, just stand back and just watch it. What's the identity of WB in 2025? Like, what is the identity? Like, at least, and I don't care too much for Vince, but at least with Vince, you knew the identity. You knew it was to have that mega star, that the mega champion that was like Hogan, San Martino, Brett, Diesel, Shawn, Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H, Cena, Batista. You get what I'm saying? Like, you knew that was the formula. When you watch WWE now, what's the identity? And that's the big question. And people are like, oh no, they're no. They're severely lacking identity, and they're covering up with a lot of this money and TV deals, and you know giving out these, hey, we had this record sellout and stuff like that. And after a while, it's gonna come to a head.
Before we go into uh, letter grades,
Hmm.
how much of this do you blame on TKO, and how much do you blame on Nick Khan and Triple H?
Oh man, you know what? I know I might get heat for this. I give them some of the blame, but most of the blame goes to the fans that support it.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Because
It's crazy that you say that because a lot of the IWC that they're gonna have something to say about that, but who gives a damn?
it's
Excuse my language. Who
here's the
gives a damn?
thing. I know out, outside of we talk and everything. There's an old saying: when a person shows you who they are, believe them.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
If they think about it, Triple H practically said at WrestleMania, "Stop criticizing the promotion."
Yep.
Did he or did he not? In so many
He
other words,
did.
Yeah,
He
stop
he
did.
did
criticizing.
say that. He did say that. Yep.
They're telling you what they think of you. You had a fan go up to Nick Khan, man. I think these ticket prices. This is he's like, we understand. Then you
So
have
do
Mark
something about
Shapiro.
it.
Well, yeah, like Mark Shapiro, like, well, Vince focused on families, and we're focusing more on profits. They're telling you who they are, and look, Triple H, Nick Khan, those guys, they're business guys. They're gonna do what's best for business. But at the end of the day, this vicious cycle that they're doing, it's the fans. Like at WrestlePalooza, I remember seeing a sign, about Brock Lesnar, like, oh, we know why, he's here or something like that. And I'm like, you do realize you paid money to get in that seat, to put up that sign. What message are you sending? They have your money.
Mm-hmm.
What? And I think the perfect example of like wanting change is what happened with um the Jimmy Kimmel thing. What was the big protest? Your wallets. You want to change WWE? Stop watching, stop subscribing, stop purchasing, stop buying.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they're gonna change. That's how it's gonna change. But yeah, I blame it mostly for the fans. They're telling you who they are. Like it isn't something that somebody said on a podcast or somebody made up or anything. Like Triple H said that literally on ESPN. Like what the like on the Pat McAfee show. Like what are we doing here?
Yeah, he
Mark
did.
Shapiro said this, on an interview. Like it's audio. I think it was on CNBC or something. Like there's video to this. We're not making this up. And for some of those fans that no, but it's the best wrestling. It's like, man, it at the end of the day, when it gets to the point where a business disrespects their core fan base, that's when I'm like, I can't rock with this, man. I can't rock with it.
All right. With that being said, I guess we'll start with Bars over there. Give your letter grade of WWE today.
My letter grade for WWE today is a C minus.
That's what you gave WrestlePalooza.
C minus. C minus. And the only reason why, and I'm gonna tell you, and I'll say it again because this is why I gave WrestlePalooza a C minus. The only reason why I give them a C minus for them today is particularly the women's division is cooking. You got Stephanie Van Cour. Naomi, before she left, was on fire.
Yeah.
The whole women's division, majority of them are doing their numbers. They're basically taking WWE to new heights. If it wasn't for them, if you extract the woman and just have the men, they will get an F from me. The women's division boosts them up to a C minus. And to me, that's being generous because I should give them a D. Actually, I should give them a D minus. But the C minus, I have to be fair because of what they have done this year with the women. That's why they're getting what they're getting. My opinion.
That's fair. That's fair.
Go ahead, guest of honor. Based off of what you know, because I know you said that after SummerSlam Night 2, that was pretty much it for you.
Oh man. I'm gonna give it an F plus. An F plus. And the reason why, besides what I mentioned, the reason why I give it an F plus is this. One, they have several wrestlers in NXT that should be on the main roster. They still have the issue of when they elevate wrestlers from NXT, they're still in limbo on the main roster. Their tag division, it's almost like playing exhibition mode on 2K or something. Oh, let's put these guys together. They're there. The women's division, they are the saving grace of it, but even that is lackluster. Like, look at how they're presenting Julia as the United States champion. Look at how they presented the Intercontinental title. That's supposed, like, what are we doing here? Now, you look at Tiffany Stratton. She's feuding with Nia Jax, who she lost the title last year, and it took a year for Nia Jax to get her rematch or what have you. Like, huh? So it's just
And
that booking. Yeah, you get that. Then you have repeated interference in the main event of Raw and SmackDown. Of course, they're going to do it business wise, but a lot of commercials during the PLEs and Raw and SmackDown. Then adding on the TNA NXT thing, like now you're invading, really, after a whole year. And the sad thing is, most of the champions from TNA are either NXT talent or former WWE workers. So who's an original in TNA? Like, really? Mm-hmm. Like, is this really an invasion or just, hey, let's just have a joint, show and everything? So that's why I give them an F plus. Like, it's with the amount of talent that they have and we've seen, and where all three of us can agree. Like you can see, like man, they should do this with this person. This, like you see it, and for what they're presenting or in how they're presenting the talent, I got to give them an F plus.
Yeah, I'm giving them a D plus. Just to echo what you guys were saying, the women are, I mean, other than it's night and day, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
how they treat the SmackDown women compared to the Raw women. Like, who are we giving credit to for saving the women's division as a whole on for WWE? Stephanie
Io
Vaquer,
Sky.
Raw,
Yeah.
Io Sky, Raw, Rhea Ripley, Raw, Naomi before she went out, Raw. So I'm like, what are they doing with the SmackDown Women's Division? Like, there are
Yeah.
people already tired of seeing Tiffany Stratton as champion. It's been lackluster, right?
Mm-hmm.
They probably would have been better off putting Stephanie over on SmackDown, beating Tiffany for the championship, and then her and Io going face to face at Crown Jewel.
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm not a
Mm-hmm.
booker or anything, you know. But
But you know what? The other thing is, look at how, like, the other reason why I give them an F plus. Look at how a lot of the hot acts that they had a year and a half ago, LA Knight, Carmelo Hayes, Jade Cargill, Damian Priest. Look at how they've normalized them, where they're not hot, they're not cold,
Jacob Fatu.
they're just there. Yeah, Jacob Fatu. Like, how do you normalize all these wrestlers where, all right, yeah, okay, they're here, yeah, okay, like, and for me, it's disappointing, especially for Jacob Fatu, because I'm sorry, his best feud was with Alex Hammerstone in MLW. That feud still, man, that was amazing, man. And it's like, how you present, like, what do you, like, what's with the creative, like, huh? It's like, what's going on here?
Yeah, and I know you probably didn't see last week's SmackDown, which I did try and watch all the way up into the Tiffany Stratton thing, but Jacob Fatu just coming back on TV after being off for about a month, and he's going into a feud with Drew McIntyre. Like, what's the story behind that? I don't understand it. Why?
Yeah, yeah,
You know, like I don't. You've taken Jacob Fatu's aura away from him by having him
yeah,
lose the United States title to Solo, and then
yeah,
Solo lost it easily to Sami Zayn. So I'm
yeah.
like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's
I don't
that,
know.
and you know what? That's some WCW type stuff. That is some WCW 98, 99 type stuff that I'm like, and I remember one of my buddies, "No, man, this ain't like WCW, you know, they ain't losing." I'm like, "No, no, no, no. You need to go back and watch those Nitros." I remember I watched one Nitro. I recommend you watch it. It was the Nitro, I can't remember the date, but the main event was Ric Flair and Goldberg versus Hogan and Nash. Pretty dope. That was actually a pretty fun main event. But if you go back and watch that Nitro, you're gonna be like, "This is what Raw's doing." Like, it was commercial segment, a promo segment. Well, here's a match, then promo segment. I'm like, did they actually do this in '99? Like, huh? And it's, man, it's bad. I mentioned a while ago one of the remedies that WWE could do to keep these guys out of limbo, whether it's the men and women's roster. They have the roster size to do a ranking system. And what I mean by that is they have a ranking system of, let's say, 5 or something like that. And if you lose, you got to start over. And if you lose a certain amount of matches, you get dropped down to NXT and you got to start all the way up. So, with that ranking system and just that general concept, that would solve a lot of wrestlers that are in limbo in WWE, because it would bring legitimacy of why are they wrestling? Because they want to get in the ranking system to win a title. It's that simple. You know, it's that simple. And, you know, if you get, let's say, like you mentioned, Jacob Fatu, like if he dropped all the way down where he got a certain amount of losses and he had to go from NXT, you don't think that's compelling TV? You're going to tune into NXT to see if this dude gets up. Oh, okay, he's got enough wins. Now he's going to go back on the main roster. Then it's like, okay, which show is he going to go to? All right, he's going to go in this show. Then he gets more wins. You're going to be more compelled to watch, right? Because it's like, man, I seen
Yeah.
this dude. Now imagine that's one wrestler. Imagine 5 to 7 wrestlers do that.
It'll keep you hooked.
Now you got exactly. I'm saying to myself, I don't want to work for WWE, but I think I should. I'm like, if I had the opportunity and they had different leadership, I actually would try to apply because I'm like, this would solve a lot of your problems on TV. Like a lot
And
of
not even
problems.
just that, like not even just going down to NXT. Like you have Evolve, you have
Yeah,
AAA, and you're gonna have.
yeah.
It seems like pretty soon here you're gonna have TNA. So you have
You
a
got
whole
AAA.
bunch of talent. It makes perfect sense to me. Um,
Yeah.
I will say that another reason why I gave him a D plus is that NXT, right? Like some of their TV shows haven't been good, but I feel like NXT not on the same level as an AEW, but they're right underneath AEW when it comes to putting on PLEs. They know how to
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels knows how to put on a PLE for NXT. And so
Yeah.
to me, the D plus is because half the women, I'm gonna say half the women's division, the Raw women's division, NXT's women's division, and NXT's PLEs is what's putting WWE at a D plus for me.
Yeah. 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 I
So
can see that.
let's do AEW real quick. We've all have strong opinions on AEW and where AEW is at. I think at one point, I think it was after WrestleMania, I put Raw at 1, Dynamite at 2, Collision at 3, NXT at 4. No, it was the other way around. Sorry. NXT at 3, Collision at 4, and SmackDown at 5. If I had to re-rank them right now, it'd be Dynamite 1, Collision 2, NXT 3, Raw 4, and SmackDown 5. What y'all think?
That's for what you watch, and that's to be fair. Like those are the programs that you watch. That's a perfect list. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Can
Yeah,
you
I
can, not to cut you off, but can you repeat that list one more time? Can you repeat it again?
Dynamite is the top weekly television show. Let's preference that because those are what we get on TV, right? So
yeah.
Dynamite 1, Collision 2, NXT 3, Raw 4, SmackDown 5.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. That's about how I would rank it. Yeah. For me, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Me too. And you guys probably remember I mentioned this on one of my lives that out of all the 3 shows in WWE, NXT has the most fun. Where you're not bombarded with ads.
Yeah.
It's a fun 2 hours. It ain't the how to put it ain't the speak what's the word I'm looking for? It's not as pristine as Raw and SmackDown, but it's very punctual. And one of the reasons why I like that you put NXT above all the other 2 WWE brands or shows is because they make it a point that hey, these wrestlers you need to know. On Raw and SmackDown, they don't present the wrestlers like you need to know them. It's more you already know them, so you should be watching them. That's how it's presented, and it's like, okay, Roman comes out, oh, he's here. You're supposed to be watching him, and it's not that sense of urgency that Vince had in the new generation era or the Attitude era. Like, no, you need to know these guys. These are the guys you need to know. It's just a very what's the word I'm looking for? A very subdued and nonchalant, if that's a correct term for the main roster. A very nonchalant, subdued, and there's a word on my tip of my tongue that I can't remember what it is, but it's I don't want to say obnoxious. Very arrogant. I think that's going in that direction. A very arrogance about the main roster. But with NXT, when I was watching, I'm like, it's actually fun. Like, it's a very punctual show and everything. Like, all right, but yeah, I agree with your list.
And so NXT, right? I not to go back to WWE. I know we're supposed to talk about AEW, but I wanted to say this real quick. I am scared for some of these wrestlers when they get called up to the main roster. One in particular, I'm sure y'all know who I'm going to say, Obafemi.
Yes.
Triple H is going to screw him up. If he right now, if he goes up to Raw or SmackDown, he should get the same exact push that Braun Breaker got. Now, do we think that's going to happen? We know Triple H's record with pushing black wrestlers, so I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna go a step further. I think he should get the same push that Gunther got. Gunther was mauling every single mofo on that roster. He was predicted to be unbeatable all the way until he got to the world title. And then that's when you're seeing it kind of getting a little stale. But I feel like in this case, they could revamp that, but fix it this time. Fix it and make it better. You know what I'm saying? Because I hear that possibly, and I know it's just a rumor, but this is what everybody is wanting, that they want him to face Sami Zayn and take the title off of Zayn. No. I feel like once he had the North American title, once he had the NXT World title, that's enough. He don't need to go for any secondary titles no more. He need to go for the tippy top titles, which is the world title, and which is the universal heavyweight title or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's what he need to be going for. So I believe that he should get the same push that Gunther got times 10. That's what.
So, who would you have him face first, Seth or Cody?
Honestly, I wouldn't have him face none of them. You know who I would have him face first? I would have him go against, look, Oba's whole character is fed off a competition, off the biggest and the baddest mofos on the roster. Yes, they have fed him a few here and there that are tough, but not as big and brawly as Jasper Troy or whoever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he needs to face the biggest and baddest dudes. So I will put him in front of Gunther. I will put him in front of Brock Lesnar. I'll put him in front of Drew McIntyre. I'll put him in front of Roman Reigns. I will put him in front of Damian Priest. I'll put him in front of all them dudes. Those guys, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed. Those are the guys I would put him in front of. I would even go get Omos, have a Nigerian versus Nigerian throwdown. Put him in front of them dudes.
Nice.
That's what I'm saying.
Nice.
You know what I mean? That's what I feel like.
You know what? Thinking about Omos and the buzz that he had, one name that comes to my mind that I think, knowing Triple H, he's probably going to push him with a hybrid of a few wrestlers, but one in particular. I think they're going to push him with the hybrid of Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman.
Talking about for Omos?
Obafemi.
Oba.
And you know what? So you said Braun Strowman and who else?
Bobby Lashley.
You know, so as long as he can take that trajectory of a Bobby Lashley, of a Braun Strowman, I'd be okay with that. Be okay with that. Because those guys were presented, Bobby more so under Vince when he was the when he was carrying the heavyweight title and the tag team titles with the Hurt Business. He was presented as unbeatable. Just like Braun Strowman was. He was presented as unbeatable. Kind of like what Bars was saying. So if that was the case, if he was presented as like what Bars was saying, unbeatable, sure, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, the only thing that I see that's a big problem in WWE, like if Obafemi's a freak of nature, a draw and everything. One of the issues with Triple H's booking is that he'll have someone that's hot, but he is like you always need a good adversary when you got somebody hot. And a lot of times when he has somebody hot, the adversaries are so damn cold and like he presented them so uninteresting that when you have um like a Bronson Reed or somebody else, like it'd be like, okay, like it's interesting, but it's not. You get what I'm saying? Like you the term they normalize it. Like he normalized the adversaries for like the hot person, where it's not as unique and like special. Like oh man, like the first time that you had remember in the Royal Rumble when you had Keith Lee and Brock Lesnar that stare down and Russell was it Royal
Yes,
Rumble 20?
yes.
Like ooh, that stuff. You know they've normalized a lot of these big monsters in WWE that it's passe now. It's like, oh, okay, there's this guy. It ain't like, oh, damn, this guy's here. Oh, okay, all right, this is gonna be fun. And that's the other downside to Obafemi going to the main roster. Because like, look at Gunther now. Like, he doesn't have the special feel that he had a year ago or a year and a half ago. So it's those little things where it's just like, man, like stop programming AEW and like reestablish this uniqueness with these damn wrestlers because it's like you can only do that so much and everything.
Speaking of AEW, I am going to say number one, they are the top program in America right now. Tony Khan has done a hell of a job of reinventing AEW, meaning they're getting out of those big arenas and going into those smaller, more
Unique
comfortable
and eclectic.
arenas. Unique, yes,
Yeah.
yes, and he is actually pushing his better wrestlers rather than relying on the ones that are coming from WWE like he did in his early years. You know, look how he reinvented Hangman Page, right? Look at
Yeah.
Swerve. Swerve came in and took over. Everybody knows I'm not the biggest Will Ospreay fan. Boo hoo, right? But look at Will Ospreay. Hell, even look at John Moxley. I'm gonna say this. You guys might look at me like I'm a little. What? How does Chris say it? Delayed. But John Moxley is AEW Stone Cold Steve Austin to me.
Yeah.
I can see
I could
that.
see that. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
AEW is doing it the right way. I'm glad that Tony Khan is finally starting to listen to the guys that he has around him on how to, fix it and get it going in the right direction. This 2025 has been the year of AEW.
Yeah. I agree with you. There's a saying that I used to use when I started doing reviews 4 years ago. AEW is a complementary alternative to WWE. Is a complementary alternative, not competition. Complementary alternative. For instance, I'll use Chicago as an example. If there's there's a lot of restaurants here. If you get bad service at one restaurant, you can go to another one, an alternative. Not competition, alternative. And it's like, you know what? I like that restaurant. They gave you this, and that's what AEW is doing, and they're sticking to their lane. They're not trying to be TNA in the early 2000s, trying to compete with WWE. That's a major thing. Not to sidetrack, but that's a major reason why TNA never reached the heights that it did because it was always trying to compete with WWE and not really doubling down on what made TNA unique and focusing on that. That's why TNA never got to the heights that it did. But with AEW, they're doing a really good job of just being a complementary alternative and then also respecting their partnerships. It doesn't feel like they're trying to buy CMLL. Doesn't feel like they're trying to uh, buy New Japan. It doesn't feel like they're trying to buy Rev Pro. They're working with them, and you look at the champ. Like, look at how many people on their roster are champions in other promotions. that's the thing. Khan, he's the Ashe World Champion. Queen Amanada, what? She won a tournament in Deathlock Pro Wrestling. Mercedes Monet, Chris Statlander is the Eve Pro Wrestling Champion. Um, who else, man? I know I'm forgetting a few other championships. That's just to name a few. Um, MJF was the middleweight CMLL champion. He lost to Mystico 2 weeks ago, so you got that and everything. So, it's almost like when those wrestlers leave AEW, they mention AEW, but they become a alternate version of what they are, or a tweaked version of what they are in AEW when they go to these promotions. So, I mean, kudos to him, and it's going to be interesting to see where everything goes next year. I've been predicting for a while that with the way WB is headed, you're going to see not like 10 or 12, but you're going to see maybe 1 to 4 big names in WB jump within the next 2 to 3 years. The way WB is headed, I see it happening. The way they're headed, and the thing is, like right now, like the tag team in NXT, Malik Blade and Idris Inoue. So Idris Inoue, he's not resigning. Like he announced it on his social media.
I saw that.
And I'm like, that tag team was dope. Like, how do you not? Like, what is going on here? And then you had Jasmine Nix not resign, and you're starting to see. It's a small number. It ain't the main roster, but you're seeing wrestlers that aren't re-signing. You had Karrion Kross that, okay, this offer's not good enough for me. I'm going to go elsewhere. He's doing an amazing job. Shotzi Blackheart, Priscilla Kelly, they're doing an amazing job outside of WWE. So I see it potentially happening. That it's heading in that direction.
Go ahead, Bars.
Yeah. So my one of my questions for you is what do you think of people like Santino and Eric Bischoff stating that TNA will soon be the second brand as far as going up against WWE? They'll be the alternative, and AEW will be pushed down to number 3. What do you think of them saying that? Because my personal opinion is this, and I've said this before in previous videos, right?
Hey, real quick, I'm going to be back. I got to use the bathroom.
Okay, yeah. I've said this before in previous videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
You cannot be the second brand and be getting the alley-oop from the first brand. You cannot.
Exactly.
You cannot do that. So I don't like the fact that a lot of these other guys that are in the business are painting this narrative that TNA, and I love TNA. I'm a big advocate for TNA. I've been watching TNA since its inception. I don't take nothing away from TNA. You got to do what you got to do to keep that brand alive. And regardless of what other people are saying, I love what they're doing in TNA. But I cannot agree with that statement because you're getting help from the number 1 brand. From the brand that everybody is painting as the top seed, you're getting help from them. So how could you be number 2? They're saying within a few years, you'll probably will begin still getting help from WWE.
Or be bought in a few. So how can you be number 2? You know what? It's interesting. It's interesting you asked that question because I've been thinking about that for several weeks, and it's like I use this analogy. It's like people saying, "Oh, Sprite's going to be the number 1, the number 2 brand to Coke." You do realize they're the same company. Like, how can you be like? Come on now. And it came out was it last month that the terms of the partnership was if TNA were to ever sell, WWE would have first right refusals. So it's like, what? What type of partnership is this? What are you talking about, number 2?
Mm-hmm.
In regards to like Santino, Bischoff, I made this comment early when I was on a live that we have a lot of people in professional wrestling, more so even in society. We have a lot of them in pro wrestling that are contrarian narcissists. That they'll take an opposite side just to take an opposite side.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they believe it or anything, but just to do it, just to stir the pot and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly believe that because a lot of the things that they're saying, like business wise, it doesn't make sense. Talent wise, it doesn't make sense. Brand wise, it doesn't make sense. It's like you're still on Access TV. Like WWE is treating you like almost like an adopted child and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, well, you were neglected. Oh, well, we're gonna take. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
huh? Like
And
you're
you
not
know
number
the,
two.
and you know another thing that I've noticed too, and this has been mentioned plenty of times as well. Like the WWE guys, the NXT guys are winning all the titles of
Yeah.
TNA. I have not seen, and maybe this is going to happen somewhere down the line, or maybe they're just doing this to make people care about TNA more. But who are you making care about TNA? Me, fans like me? If there's fans like me, we already love TNA. You know what I'm saying? Are
Hmm.
you just or are you trying to get those WWE fans to care about TNA? Because honestly speaking, those WWE fans are not going to be drawn into TNA like that. They
Yeah.
not they
And
they TNA is too much of a hybrid promotion.
yeah.
Even with the being under the WWE umbrella, you go to TNA, you see the difference. And the
Hmm.
reason why I say that is because if you noticed, any wrestler that has left WWE, whether they got fired or they left, whenever they go to TNA, their whole style changes. And then when they go back to WWE, you see this whole new persona of them as far as wrestling. Prime
Hmm.
example, Naomi. What happened with
Yeah.
Naomi when she went to TNA? And I told people this. I said, if Naomi goes to TNA, I'm telling you, she's going to step it up. She's going to end up being a champ. She's going to hold that belt for a very long time. And then she's going to go back to WWE. She's going to crush it. And she's going to get the world title. What happened?
Yeah.
She
And that
went.
and that's the thing. If you look at TNA right now, it's funny because I mentioned this in a group chat. Most of the people who hold their title are either WWE NXT wrestlers or former WWE wrestlers. So, like you said, you're a fan of TNA. Who's an original there that we should actually invest in?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's mostly TNA. It's mostly either former WWE wrestlers or NXT wrestlers. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, think about it. Out of the originals, there, what Moose, Santana, and
Leon Slater,
Leon Slater,
Steve Macklin,
Joe
um,
Hendry.
Joe Henry. But
Well,
he's
Steve Macklin's a former NXT guy. That's the thing.
yeah, right. You
So
right. I forgot.
that's the thing. It's
Yeah,
like you start like, wait a minute, they're former ex NXT guy, and then you look at the
yeah.
knockouts division. Andy Hartwell, former
Mm-hmm.
NXT talent. Um, was it Xia Ying, Lee Sing Lee?
Mm-hmm.
She was Xia Lee in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Ash by Elegance, Dana Brooke, former NXT talent. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like if you really look at it, it's like, wait a minute, is this like NXT? Is this TNA or is this a WWE character rehab promotion? Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
It's that may be harsh, but it's like this is what they're projecting. And that's something you guys, we've talked about wrestling. You've seen me on lives and say that's one of my biggest things that I try to express when it comes to these wrestling shows. It's not that we're taking a dig at it, like we're reacting to what they're projecting to us. This is what they're projecting to us.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you want to change what's being projected to us, then change it. If you want us to change how we're critiquing the product, then change the product. This is what you're projecting to us. And yeah, the TNA NXT thing, it's like it makes no sense why. And I shout out to Mid South because he brought this up on the live. It makes no sense for the NXT TNA invasion when most of the TNA wrestlers have already appeared on WWE TV.
Mm-hmm.
So why should we invest in this? Oh, it's cool, it's invasion, this, and all that. And like I've said before, like WWE, especially on the Triple H, man, he's been using a lot of hype, bait and switch, and then once you get that second level, then it's let the fans fantasy book. Let the fans fantasy book themselves to the next show or the next PLE. And think about it. Most of the content creators you see that review WWE, what is most of their content centered around? Fantasy booking.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bread and butter. And it's like, once is an accident, twice is coincidence, 3 times is a pattern. Like, am I the only one that sees this in WWE? Like, this is beyond accidents. This is more coincidence and pattern. Like, come on, man. But yeah, it's disappointing. Like, an invasion angle with TNA would have been cool in 2008 when you had AJ Styles, when you had Samoa Joe, when you had Christopher Daniels, when you had Petey Williams, when you had Kurt Angle there. When you had, a roster of guys like, okay, they can go. That would have been a cool invasion angle. It's like, okay, we get to see AJ Styles in. You think about it, at that time, you would have had AJ Styles in his prime versus John Cena in his prime.
Mm-hmm.
Randy Orton in his prime. You get Samoa Joe and Randy Orton in their prime. Who wouldn't want to see that?
Yeah.
2007.
That would have been nasty.
Man.
Facts.
Man, that would have been sweet. But now, you wait too long. And honestly, the sad thing about the TNA NXT partnership with this whole invasion angle, the real super show that fans want to see is AEW and WWE. Like, this partnership,
we're never
I don't
gonna
want
get
to
it.
Never say never. Not now, but it could happen down the line. Could happen down the line. Bryan Danielson, that interview he gave was very insightful. He's like, just some things gotta mend and everything, but never say never. What I feel this partnership of TNA and NXT feels like, it's like we like Coke, right? Coca-Cola. Or, name brand. Name brand. Coca-Cola, Pepsi, you want name brand sodas, right? You know where I'm going with this. I feel like this NXT TNA partnership is like when you go to Aldi and you get that knockoff Coca-Cola and that knockoff Sprite, where it ain't Coca-Cola and it ain't Sprite, but it has.
Was it at the Dollar General's like Dr. Thunder and Mount
It's
Lightning?
like cola. Thunderbolt. Yeah, that's what it is. It's like, can we really take this serious? Like, really? And the thing is, like, the mistake that they made was you had the perfect opportunity to crown Mike Santana the champion in his hometown. How do you here? It's like the universe. Here's an easy, like you said, bars, alley-oop, an easy alley-oop. Like here. And it's like they turn an easy alley-oop into the shot that Carlton shot in the episode of The Fresh Prince when he stole the ball from Will. Oh, I'm gonna shoot it. He just missed. It's like it's like, how you miss, man? Like, really? But yeah, that's what I feel about that partnership, bars.
Yeah, I just felt like, let me ask you that because I really do feel that, they know deep down that the only way that TNA could ever be a number 2 brand like it was years and years ago was they will have to dump the whole partnership from WWE. Or if they don't dump it, they will have to show that they can move on their own without any assistance. Like all the partnerships and really, and I'm not trying to put the AEW against WWE so much, but I mean, honestly, that's what it's been for the last few
It's
years.
reality.
That's just what it's been, you know.
Yeah.
And these are the two promotions that have been absorbing the TV screen for the last few years too. So that's just what it is. But what I'm saying is that AEW got a bunch of partnerships with other promotions. Not one time did you ever feel that AEW was about to buy another promotion. Even if they
Yeah.
was going to do it, you didn't know because they never gave you that insight. They never gave you that
Yeah.
assumption
That inclination.
that this was going to happen.
Yeah.
So they hid
Yeah.
it. You know what I'm saying? They hid it.
Yeah.
Like no one knew that Ring of Honor was going to be purchased until the last minute. We was like, "Oh, they got Ring of Honor. What? How's that going
Yeah.
to work?" Like no one knew. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying. Like, you know, if TNA was to ever do that, they have to break that WWE chain and just be on
Yeah.
their own.
Yeah. They would have to get a Mark Cuban to buy the company and invest in it for it to be a legit number 2. And it goes, you know what, Bars? And it goes back to what I said earlier. WWE right now, if you really look at it, and I said it kind of looks like, but now talking and everything, WWE, as far as Triple H, Nick Khan, and Mark Shapiro, they're trying to be Vince McMahon, more Vince McMahon than Vince McMahon was, and use his template more than establish their own identity and everything. It's like they're trying to be more Vince McMahon than Vince McMahon. What did Vince McMahon do? He bought up all the promotions. What are they trying to do?
Mm-hmm.
Vince bought promotions. We can buy more promotions than Vince.
Mm-hmm.
And is that a logical, smart, wise business approach in this day and age? No, because how many fans don't, outside of wrestling, how many of us are tired of these damn monopolies and mergers?
Right.
Every time there's a merger with a streaming service, guess what? The price goes up. The hell?
Yes.
So it's, that's where, like you said earlier, as far as the price and everything, this all ties into that.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to be more Vince McMahon than Vince McMahon. It's like, that's how Vince did it. Vince wasn't trying to be his dad. See, that's the difference. Vince wasn't trying to be his dad.
He was trying
And,
to separate himself from his dad.
the other thing is, and again, this ain't bashing Triple H, but this is the reality of it. Triple H never grew up in the wrestling business. He didn't grow up like a Shane McMahon working with the ring crew and traveling with the ring crew and the ring guys, putting the ropes together, working in Stanford office as a kid. Not as an adult, as a world champion, as a kid, traveling with the agents, talking with Freddie Blassie, Captain Lou Albano, Mr. Fuji, Jimmy Hart, Bobby Heenan, learning the psychology, sitting in the stands, observing the crowd as a young 20-year-old. This is what Shane was doing at that time. Triple H, it's sad to say, but Triple H inherited the company on third at home plate after rounding third. Am I wrong?
No, absolutely not. I honestly thought Shane was going to take over the company, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh, I got to send you guys a clip from a letter. I found it. I got to send it. Man, it had to be in the WB magazine like 94, 95. And Vince mentioned like, yeah, I'm doing all this and, then my son Shane will take over in 94. So it's like, yeah, this is some interesting stuff with this damn family, man.
Well,
Man.
I'm going to say thank goodness for... Go ahead.
So, and I really hope this is just fake and clickbait. That's all I hope this is. So I'm reading from these folks on not TikTok, Instagram called WrestleTales. They're saying that WWE has just filed a trademark for PJ Vesa.
Yeah.
For
it's
for Obafemi.
No.
What?
It's not Obafemi.
It's not Obafemi?
No. It's if you watch LFG, the Polynesian girl with the tattoo.
Okay.
It's for her because she tweeted out.
Oh,
Oh, so
Yeah,
then why is Obafemi? So why is Obafemi a part of this picture? Because I see over
these
on it.
people are. God, I can't stand these damn wrestling
clickbait.
aggregators.
Okay, so it
Man,
Clickbait.
is definitely clickbait. Because I'm about to say, because I'm about to say, like, why are they showing Obafemi on here and not the girl?
yeah. Okay, how do you spell the name? Bars?
What what
PA, was it Pasa Massa or something? I forgot the trademark.
it's the trademark is PJ Vesa VASA.
PJ Vessa. I just
Yeah.
want to make sure that it's because that's yeah, it's the LFG's Pinina Tupa Tulapea.
I know who you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, Pinina Tupalea. Yeah, that's who it is.
She would actually make a good heel. I mean, I didn't watch all of LFG. I watched a few episodes here and there. She would actually make a good heel.
She would make a. I don't know how they never freaking put a woman's bloodline together.
Hmm.
You had Naomi and Nia Jax and Tamina. God, this company's creatively, man.
So I'm about to
Hey,
so I'm about to correct this guy right now because I'm commenting. I'm telling them this is fake and it's clickbait and it's for the girl that's on LFG. What's her name again?
it's a
You're gonna have to Google it, bro.
yeah. You're gonna have to Google it, man. That's a very strong Polynesian name. Shout out
Oh,
to my Polynesian
so
people
I'm
out
gonna
there.
just say I'm gonna just say it's for the Polynesian girl that's on LFG.
LFG.
Yeah, LFG.
Did she win LFG? Does anybody know? I didn't.
I don't, I don't
I
even
didn't keep
know.
up with it.
I didn't see. I know they. I don't. Did they post the results or something like that? That's the only way I keep in the know of WB, just because I follow a lot of the wrestling media, so I get the updates and everything. But no, I haven't seen anything with the name on it or anything. But yeah, that clickbait. That's one of the other reasons why I started City of Wrestling, Dub and Bars, because
Mhm.
just started seeing so much misinformation and everything, and I'm like, man, this is bad. And then, I got buddies that are sending me, oh, what about this? I'm like, dude, this is not correct. So I'm like, you know what? With my background in broadcasting and knowing who are the reputable sources as far as wrestling media, and I'm following them, I'm like, you know what? Let me be a mediator or a bridge, you know, for people
So,
that, man, I don't know. Here, I'll send you the
with your
information.
background in that, who would you name as some of the most reputable sources when it comes to like online um
Wrestling media.
well, yes. Golly, I couldn't get
Yeah,
that out.
I could. I know about the Sean Ross Sapp, um, John Alba.
Stop right there.
I know
Stop
people.
right there. Stop
Okay,
right there. Give me your thoughts on Dave Meltzer.
Dave Meltzer. You know what? I honestly believe, like, the thing is, like, people have construed a lot of stuff because he gives his opinion. Again, like the clickbait, and they'll twist it like, no, he said this is fact, and I've listened to. I'm like, the dude gave his opinion. Like, what I honestly think at that time, and it's more so like in the '90s. Like, granted, he had his opinion and everything, but I do feel like at times he was fed. They fed him misinformation, and again, he's a reporter. He's going to report it.
Right.
So it comes across, and this goes back to like media literacy, and that's something that you guys know in our society is very declining.
Hmm.
No, man, he's wrong, and it's like, no, he's reporting what they told him. You know, it ain't necessarily him lying. It's more they're feeding him
He he got lied to.
exactly. And I remember I had a buddy who's like, "No, man, that ain't true." I'm like, "You really think WWE is going to tell the truth? You really think that? You really think that? To a certain extent, you really think that?" But again, with him, it's just like there's certain things I'm like, I just keep scrolling. It's like, eh. But then there's other things like, okay, that's interesting. Like my first memory of Dave Meltzer, and this is taking it back. It was Vince, Randy Orton's uncle, Superstar Billy Graham, Dave Meltzer, they were on the Donahue show,
Oh
and
wow,
I think 91 or
Donahue. I
92.
haven't heard that name in a long time.
I came home from school, flipping the channel. Hey, wait a minute, Vince McMahon's here, and that's how I learned about the steroid scandal and the Ring Boy scandal. I was like 9 or 10 years old. That's how I came across Dave Meltzer. That's taking
So,
it back.
with that being said, I mean, how long have we? Never mind. Um, have you given? Because I got up to use the bathroom and stuff. So, have you guys given your thoughts on AEW? I know we got back off into WWE sphere, and it's easy to do because there's a lot wrong with them. And I get
Yeah.
it. I mean, we could probably have a whole show just by
Jesus.
what's wrong with WWE.
I think we
Yeah.
kind of did, but we just didn't give it a
Yeah.
leather grade. But I'll go first real quick just to get mine out the way. I'll say it again because I've said it previously on other shows. Like AEW's cooking right now, man. I give them an A+.
Man. I will give them definitely ain't a B. I will give them an A-. And the only reason I'll give them an A- is I love Tony Schiavone and everything, but I do think they need to keep him as a ringside announcer, and they need to put Ian Riccaboni on Collision, because having a broadcasting background, I can see there's times where um, there's so much stuff happening, and with Tony Schiavone being an old school announcer, a lot of the moves that they're using are very long words and everything. So if you notice, he'll shortcut his way to the move, like, oh my god, this is an impressive move, and this is this. So I think that then also, like, just how they do the interviews, like, just got to tweak it a little bit. I've always been a component that they should do um, interviews how the NWA did it back in 1989, where they have the interviewer, like, they're not on the stage or anything. Like, the crowd is behind the interviewer, and you got the heel wrestler talking, and then the face wrestler talking, and the crowd is like just like getting rowdy behind it. Then boom, everything set off. So um, that's why I give them an A- because of that little thing. But other than that, I mean, to see the show that they're putting on and everything, like I said, it's a complimentary alternative to WWE. And I'll add this about AEW. When I watch AEW, I can take my mind off of things that's happening in the world for 2 hours. That's why I give them um, that letter grade. With WWE, it's hard to take your mind off of things that are happening in this world because they have certain elements that are coming from the things that are happening in the world. And it's hard to get into that, escapism and everything with WWE.
I would give AEW an A- also. I think one thing for me that I would like to see more of is, especially on their pay-per-views, is more women's matches.
Yeah.
Um
Well, we'll
I
probably get it now. With
and here's the thing, like, oh yeah, because of the tag team champions. Yeah. And here's the thing about the WWE too. They also could use more women's matches on their PLEs, right?
instead of 5 matches.
So I think that, yeah, out of 5 matches, right? So what's wrong with giving? If you're gonna do 5, you can give the women 2, you give the men 3, I guess. I mean, or you can have a mixed tag team,
Yeah.
whatever. I just think that both companies could do better with adding women, because we already said about WWE, the women are carrying that damn company. Okay,
Yeah.
AEW, we see Tony Storm. We just saw Chris Stat. We see Mercedes. Jamie Hayter's on her way back, or is back. You got Megan Bain. You got Penelope Ford. You got Anna Jay. You got so I could keep on going, right? I think it's first off, it's a good idea that they're adding the women's tag team title. Um, I just want to see more women on their pay-per-views. We see them during the shows, during the weekly shows. I think we need to
Yeah.
see more of them on pay-per-views. But other than that, that's my only even though I hate the masked dude in the on that does the commentary. I can never remember his name because he annoys
Excalibur.
me. Yeah, he kind of he's the equivalent of Chris Collinsworth because I can't stand that guy either. And if you
I've never heard that comparison, and I'm not gonna get that out of my head now. Oh
because
my lord, that's
because
hilarious.
on Sunday Night Football, Chris Collinsworth absolutely gives me it makes me cringe, right? And then I'm listening to Excalibur, I'm like, "Ugh, God damn, can they not get somebody? Where's Nigel when you need him?
Oh man, that's funny. That's funny. That's
But
funny.
that's just me. I know people aren't going to agree with that. That's just me.
Yeah, it's a bit one real thing, real quick. Totally forgot about it. You know, with WWE, we also got to remember that they have, was it 2 to 4 hour pre-shows with no matches.
And that's what kills me. They used to have a match or two on their
Yeah,
pre-shows, and then they stopped doing it.
it's like, huh? Like that's why I gave them a. What did I give them, an F plus?
Yes.
That's why I gave them.
That was
That ain't
diabolical.
changing anytime soon.
Bars gave you the Shao Kahn laugh for that one, an F plus.
No, I know.
They don't even do that in school, like, bro. They don't even do that in school. It's either an F or a D minus. Like,
Look,
you created one.
real quick. When I used to give letter grades, that's one of the reasons why I stopped, because it's like, okay, you know what? It's kind of harsh to the wrestlers, so that's why I just use like good, decent stuff like that. I remember the Raws in 2021, and you remember those are some bad Raws. Like in 2021, they were horrible. And I remember I messaged my buddy. I'm like, dude, what's lower than an F? Because I googled it, scholastic grades, and I'm like, what the hell is lower than an F? And it said incomplete, and I'm like, well, I can't necessarily say it's an incomplete. I'm like, actually, I should use that. I'm like, put it incomplete and just see what people's reaction. What's funny? One Raw, I gave it a D minus, and Eva Marie liked my post. I have that screenshot. I was like, wait a minute, is this what? Huh? And I looked, and it was her official account. She liked it when I gave it a D minus, or a D plus,
You're not
or not D
married, are you?
minus. Who, me?
Yeah.
Nah.
Okay.
I was like,
You're good.
no. I gave F. Did I give it an F or D? It was one of those grades, and she liked. I was like, and I messed up. I'm like, dude, is there something wrong in WWE that she's liking? Like, does she realize I gave this show it was a D minus or an F? Like, does she realize I just rated the show poorly? Like, huh? I was like, hey, it's not my circus, not my monkeys. All right,
And you
that's
know
good.
what? I will say this. Once Vince McMahon got out the way and it was Stephanie and Triple H running everything before the whole merger with TKO happened, the Raws and SmackDowns were good. That's what kills me.
Yeah.
They were good shows.
Yep.
The PLEs were good shows. And then this merger with TK, that's why I always ask anybody that will answer the question, do we blame Triple H and Nick Khan, or do we blame TKO? Because everything changed once TKO
I
came in and took over.
Yeah, I say all three. I think what it is all that money they're making, and even Triple H. You think about it. He's making all that money. He's going to pass it down to his 3 daughters.
Yeah.
So you think about it. Well, creative, yeah, that's why a lot of a lot of his interviews, if you really listen to it, it's word salad. Like, I mentioned this on a live, and people thought I was crazy. I'm like, if some of these fans that went to WrestlePalooza had any sense, like, I would have sought, like, filing, some type of, thing as far as, like, false advertising. Because
False
Triple H
advertising.
literally said, he literally said on ESPN, oh, expect surprises. What surprises? And I noticed on their flyers, if you remember the old school flyers, they always said, and AEW has it, cards subject to change. They do not have that on their flyers anymore. WWE. So I'm like, there is some form of legality that if somebody's really looking into it, just saying. But that's a whole nother topic and everything.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm sure we can go on for hours and hours and hours just talking
Yeah.
about what is wrong. And not and people that are going to listen to this or that are listening to this, we're not saying that there's nothing wrong with AEW. There's nothing wrong with any
Yeah.
of the there's nothing wrong with any of the indie promotions, Rev Pro, New Japan, so on and so forth. But this is the biggest company in our country, and they are front and center Mondays, Tuesdays, Fridays, and these days every other Saturday for their PLEs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easier to point out their flaws, especially when they're doing the shit. Sorry, I have to say that. When they're doing the shit that they're doing.
Yeah.
They're making it that way. Like Dedrian has pointed out, a lot of the stuff that is coming across TV right now, we see in our daily life on CNN, MSNBC, NBC, ABC, all the 3-letter acronyms that you get on TV, Fox News, if you watch that nonsense. I'm just saying, the kind of stuff that we're seeing within the WWE, we're actually seeing on the news stations,
Yeah.
right? You know, like Dedrian pointed out, Triple H is over there doing his signature at the White House.
Yeah, that was tasteless for me. Like when I saw that, I'm like, that's tacky and tasteless. Like, huh? And I was already on the brink of like, maybe I should like, shouldn't I be watching? But man, I think you tuned in on that live when I was doing night two, and I'm watching. And I'm like, as soon as that music, hit, I'm like, oh my god! And everybody's like, what happened? I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. I saw right as the music was hitting, I think I had just hit your live to just listen to what you guys were talking about.
and it's sad. But you know what? I can tell you this: ever since that day, granted, it was disappointing and just like disgust. I will say disgusting, but the beautiful thing about it, man, learning so much about these 145 other wrestling promotions, man.
So
The beauty behind these promotions, man. What I mean by beauty, the creativity that's out there, man. It is amazing.
so real quick before we call it, because I think we've been on for quite some time, but before we call it an evening, me and him, we watch Ashe. I think he actually watches MLW and stuff is like that. For people like me, how what other than is there do you pay for subscriptions to watch these indie promotions? And
Well, most
what
of
are
them,
some other ways other than YouTube to actually watch them and get
man,
into them?
most of them. I mean, you gotta pay for them and stuff like that. Thankfully, I got a friend that hooked me up and everything. But most of them, I mean, most of their show, like the indie wrestle, like these indie promotions, they're on YouTube and everything, so you can watch it and everything. And also, it's funny when not you in particular, but other people
Mhm.
like, oh man, I gotta pay this. I'm like, you do realize all you gotta do is follow these promotions. They're literally gonna post the highlights from the match, so you just keep up
Right.
with it and everything. That's how I mostly keep up with them. You know, one of the things that helped me as a wrestling content creator, more so a fan keeping up with these promotions, was, and you guys probably experienced this starting ring ropes and turnbuckle, was you have your personal social media accounts and you want to follow all these wrestling promotions, but then you have your other interest on your personal page. So you're like, man, I don't want this to be bombarded with wrestling because I'm interested in this. So for me, I was like, you know what? One day I'm going to just create a wrestling account where I can follow wrestling, just log in there, and it's nothing but wrestling. And once I created City of Wrestling, that's how I was able to just see all these promotions and just follow all of them and everything. And I ain't looked back since. That's why people are like, man, how do you know this promotion? How do you know this promotion? Like, how do you know about Vietnam Pro Wrestling? Just
Mm-hmm.
followed it and everything. And I'm seeing, that whole thing. Seeing the promotions in Poland, seeing that was it Japan, China, and Australia, there's at least 20 promotions that I didn't know of. I was like, I just thought it was because I know in Australia it's Riot City Wrestling and Melbourne Championship Wrestling and stuff like that. So it's like I just started seeing all these promotions. I'm like, all right, this is fun. This is fun. And I look at it like the DC universe and Marvel Comics. Like
Mm-hmm.
these are all comic book characters, live action comic book characters with all these different universes. So that's how for me that's why it's fun because like, oh man, who's that? Oh, wait, what championship is that? Oh, wait a minute, that match? Oh man, let me check it out and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So basically, what I'm getting is like you follow the promotions on social media, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, wherever,
Yeah,
and they'll post their highlights and stuff like that on that. And then if you want to go back and watch the match, go find it on
yeah,
YouTube.
yeah. They'll usually upload it on YouTube and stuff like that. But it, man, I will tell you this: if you want to see all the creativity that you want in WWE, is in all these other promotions. It's in every last one of them, and the creativity that's out there is fantastic. Man, fantastic. The creativity, the matchups, um, you have the in-ring storytelling, but also the video packages that these wrestlers are using or doing to promote their match. It's like, ooh, okay, this is different. Like I said, it's like a live action comic book. It's like each promotion is like a different comic book that you open up and you're like, oh man, this is fascinating. And then you go to the next promotion. But man, it's so damn fun, man. I'm having fun. I am having fun.
Yeah, and we actually witnessed some of that creativity last week whenever we interviewed Rayhan and Tejas, aka Cream Pie Poppy, and he was telling us like everything that goes through his mind when creating the Ugly Gang and what he plans on doing for it in the future and
Mm-hmm.
where he can see it. And I asked him if you could take Ugly Gang anywhere, where do you think it would thrive the most? He was like, I would like to say WWE, but I know that some way or another they'll mess it up. So I think Tony Khan will bring us in knowing what we have, and he won't mess with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's telling right there. That is
Yeah,
telling.
yeah, yeah. It's telling. And um, the one thing I like about watching these other promotions, I don't want to call them indie promotions, alternative promotions. I think you know what? Do you guys agree we should rename that from independent promotions to alternative promotions?
I'm with it. Bars.
Because I
Yeah.
think when the that indie name, like people have made it like oh it's less than major leagues. Like no, it's alternative promotions. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're alternative promotions. AEW is an alternative promotion. Rev Pro, New Japan, that's they're alternative promotions and everything. But man, one thing I've liked is when watching these promotions, and I'll never forget the night after SummerSlam Night 2. It was Monday night, and of course, Raw was going to come on and everything on Netflix. And I had it on YouTube, and I was working on some graphics, and I had it on Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling on YouTube. And I'm just letting it play and everything, and I'm like, man, there is something really psychological about WWE because I'm watching uh, Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. I don't feel lethargic. I don't feel bombarded with ads. I don't feel like a chore. I didn't feel anything. I just felt like I was just relaxed. It was entertaining and everything. It was the mood that I felt. It was soothing. And you guys probably can relate to that feeling when we were kids watching wrestling. It was like this
Mm-hmm.
just soothing mentality
Mm-hmm.
and feeling that you had when you watch wrestling. Like it wasn't. It was just like soothing. Like man, okay, this is cool. It's like oh man, I missed this, but man, I'll never forget it. But man, it's so much fun, man. It is so much fun covering these other promotions.
Who is the founder of Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling?
That's
Interesting. You
I know who it is.
he used to run TNA and they
Used to
fired
run
him.
10.
Billy Corgan.
No, not Billy
Scott
Corgan.
Demore.
Scott Demore.
Scott
Yeah.
Demore. I knew it was one of them two.
Yeah.
Billy
Yeah.
Billy
Scott
Corgan
Demore.
does NWA, right?
Yes.
Billy
Yes.
Corgan's
Okay.
Yes.
NWA.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Scott
And
Demore.
it
Okay.
that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, he runs it. Man, they got some beautiful belts in Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. Them
I
belts
thought
are
you were going to say
nice.
something else.
Speaking of NWA, I believe I told Doug. Speaking of NWA, we have one of their wrestlers coming on the show in a few weeks.
Nice.
By the name of Psycho Boy. And the funny thing about that is, like, I've been watching him for some time, but I didn't put two and two together that that's the guy we're interviewing. And I'm gonna tell him about that when when he comes on the show. Like, I was literally watching him on TV, and I'm like, why does that name sound familiar? And I'm like, I just left it alone. Then I go back. I was like, wait a minute, like this name sound familiar. So then I said, wait a minute. And then I just go look at the flyer. I said, oh, shit. That's that guy. Yo. I was like, that's that guy.
Oh man, that's funny.
Then I started yelling at the screen. I'm like, yeah, you better win this. Because he was in a battle royal. I was like, yeah,
Okay.
you better win this battle royal. I was like, yo, you better win this battle royal. We gonna talk about this battle royal if you don't win this battle royal.
And that's the cool thing about NWA. They're on Roku channel, so you can watch their episodes on Tuesdays. So it's you can keep up with a lot of these promotions and everything, man. It's pretty how do I put it? Accessible. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was gonna say. Accessible.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do a better job myself as into keeping up with some of these promotions. Like, I have at least 2 Roku TVs in my house, right? So I'm like, why can't I watch NWA? I might have to sit in my son's room to watch it because that's where one of the Roku TVs are. But he, just like I said earlier, he likes wrestling just like I do. So he'll probably just sit next to me and watch it anyway.
Yeah.
YouTube is free.
Yeah. The cool thing about YouTube, when I've watched wrestling, like, I don't know if I know the auto feature, like if you watch a video, like if you create YouTube videos, it links to another video. Man, there was one time I was watching an AEW match, like late at night, and I fell asleep and I woke up and that damn thing went into, I don't know how it got there, but it went into a Gordon Soley interview from like the 80s. I'm like, how the hell did it get from, huh? And he was interviewing like Tommy Rich or something. I'm like, what the hell I'm like, who changed the channel or something? Like, what? This is weird.
Yeah. Bars, what alternative promotions do you watch?
All right, so I watch the alternative promotions that I watch, and I'm not going to include AEW because I feel like AEW, even though they're considered an alternative, I feel like AEW is much more than an alternative. They're like side by side with WWE. I watch NWA, I watch MLW, I watch Ring of Honor, I watch New Japan, I watch Pro Wrestling Noah, I watch All Japan Pro. I especially watch it now because of Odyssey, us, holding conversations with Odyssey and talking to him. I watch Rev Pro, the UK promotions. Basically, all the UK Pro Progress. I watch all of them. I watch some of the classic promotions that are really not doing much now. Like I started watching again WEW. That's the women's promotion.
Ah, okay.
And
taking it back.
Yeah, and I started watching them again is because one of the wrestlers that was wrestling on that promotion by the name of Smoke. I met him at the J1 Con. if you remember Smoke used to do the Rock impersonation on WEW, and he did a pretty good
That's why the
one
name
too.
sounds familiar.
Yep.
That's why the name sounds familiar.
Yeah, and he was trained by New Jack. And I met him at the event. Very cool brother. Very cool brother. And what's crazy was I started to remember who he was when I was talking to the one girl and she was explaining to me who this guy was. And I was like, yo, why that name sounds so familiar? But I just couldn't put my finger on it. But then in the corner of my eye, I'm looking and I'm seeing this tall guy that kind of resembles the guy that I'm thinking that's in my head. But he don't, you know what I mean? Of course, he don't have the hair on his head no more. He's bald. He's a lot
Yeah.
bigger. But he still has the same type of facial features. I was like, yo, is that him? So then when she finally introduced us and told me, and I said, yeah, I knew it was you. I was like, he started laughing. I was like, I knew it. I knew it, shit. And I just gave him a dap, whatever, gave him a hug. I was like, yeah, I knew it was you. I was like, because, you know, you see stuff like that as a fan, right? You don't want to be going up and like, you know, harassing
Exactly.
folks, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not a Mark. I'm not that type of guy. You know what I mean? I don't go, oh, Rhea Ripley. I don't do that.
Sign these 20 things.
I'm just not that type of guy. You know what I'm saying? I see a wrestler, I'll be like, yo, and some of them might get insulted. I'll be like, if I see a wrestler walk by, I'll be like, yo, what's up? I'll just go like that and keep it moving. I guess it's just a Jersey, New York thing. I'll just be like this and I just keep it moving. And I'll be like, I guess they'd be like, oh, he's not going to. I did that to Wheeler Yuta at Collision. I seen Wheeler Yuta. I was like, what's going on, fam? And I just kept walking. He was like,
Was he in character?
He was in character, but he was about to break character because he already did his segment. So he's leaving
Okay.
and going back. So a lot of people were like trying to swarm him, and I just was like, "It's good, bro." It was like Yuta, and I just kept walking with my son. He's like, "Dad, you're not gonna go talk to him?" I was like, "Nah, man, we good." And I just kept it moving.
Yeah, that's funny. That is funny.
Man, you don't get to give Jersey that kind of compliment. That's just human decency. Like, really, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, I just never been that type of guy, you know, and I see other fans do it. I just, you know, me personally, I just like, yo, they human just like us, you know.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like I like when we interview these guys, my inner fandom comes out as we're interviewing. My inner fandom comes out, and you can see it just by me,
Bruh.
you know, getting all animated and whatnot. But
Bruh, mine was all out with Rayhan. my fandom was on display
Really?
with Rayhan. Oh yes, and I normally don't show it. Like, I didn't show it with Elijah Burke. I didn't show it with Odyssey. I didn't show it with any other wrestlers that we had. But for whatever reason, with Rayhan, he'll tell you my fandom was on display for everybody to see.
That's dope. That, you know what? They appreciate that. I remember when I interviewed Victoria, Lisa Marie Varon, and it's interesting. Like, that video is up on my YouTube channel. I went to Pro Wrestling Blitz here in Chicago. It was their promotion and everything. And shout out to Ray Flores, a colleague of mine. He's done announcing work for like the Mayweather Pacquiao fight and everything. And I was there as a camera guy. So we go to, you know, shoot and everything. And I'm like, all right, cool. We're recording, blah, blah, blah. And shout out to my guy, Pete Ferreira. He was the head of the school sports department as far as broadcasting. And he's like, yeah, we're going to get an interview with her. I'm thinking he's going to interview. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm going to watch the interview, blah, blah, blah. Then he comes back, hey, you're going to interview her. Huh? Mind you, I ain't got no run sheet or anything. Actually, that's what helped me like do interviews with no run sheet. So he's like, yeah, you got no run sheet or anything. You're going to interview her. Okay, cool. I didn't sweat it. Got the mic. Man, my buddy, who I've always done interviews with, he's like, you ready? I ain't got no choice. What? Oh, no, I'm not ready. She's coming here. Came over here, and off the top of my head, hey, where did you get the name from? When did you start? You know, the restaurant, Squared Circle that was here in Chicago. Boom, boom, boom. I turned an impromptu interview into like a 12, 15-minute interview.
Mm.
Just boom, 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 boom. And man, that was crazy. And what's crazy is I went to that restaurant again with my parents. She sat down, talked to me, my dad, and my mom, and everything like nothing. And my dad's like, "I've seen her on WBTV. Yeah, that's Victoria." He's like, "Really?" He's like, "Wow, that's so cool." And one of the most funnest experiences I had interviewing her. Like that was one of the best experiences as far as interviewing a wrestler.
Yeah, I find it all fun, man. Like even just doing shows like this where we're just talking about the good and the bad of what's going on in today's
Hmm.
wrestling, or even in some of the 15 to 20-minute shows that we do. I think we did. So I don't know if you've paid attention or not. We have made it a point to tell people like, yeah, sometimes we're going to go outside of the wrestling realm too. Like we've done my first love is not wrestling, believe it or not. My first love is boxing. So
Oh, nice.
yes, and so we've done a couple shows on boxing. We did one over the Canelo and Crawford fight, and then we
Okay.
recently did one over Jake Paul and Tank Davis fight coming up.
Okay.
So I absolutely love boxing. And if we could get a boxer on this show, I'm sorry, Bars, I'm not gonna lie to you. If I have a chance to get a boxer on this show, they coming.
Oh nah, by all means. If it, it let me just say this. It fits our
Ring ropes.
show, Ring Ropes and
Yeah.
Turnbuckle podcast. So we
Hey.
could do MMA, we could do
Yes. It's.
boxing, and do wrestling. This is
Yep.
why I said like we can branch out and do the other combat sports. It fits. It's right there. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
yeah.
It's
But
good,
yes,
man.
I absolutely love boxing. So before we call it a night, do you watch boxing?
Man, you know what? Surprising, because I do so much wrestling content, a lot of people are like, "Oh, you only watch wrestling." Man, I watch all sports. I am a sports fanatic. I'm not gonna say sports
Yes.
fanatic. Baseball, like when I was a kid, like I played.
You're a Cubs fan.
My dad wanted me to play little league, but I was like, I ain't trying to get hit with a ball. But now looking back, man, I should have played baseball because I was really
Yes.
good, a really good fielder. I just need to work on my hitting, but I could play baseball, basketball, um,
Bulls.
football.
Bears.
I should have ran track, but I was into all that, watching that, and then of course when ESPN2, um, man, what the hell? What the hell is this person calling me? Um, with ESPN2 when they had the gymnastics and the strongman competitions and stuff like that. Like I was just a sports fan. Just watch. I was like, all right, cool. This is sport. All right, cool. American Gladiators, the original,
Oh,
not the remake,
yes.
the original.
Yes.
That was a dope show. So watching
I
that, like
always
I'm
told
a,
myself
I'm
I'm gonna look like them guys one day, and it never happened,
yeah,
of course.
like I'll tell you this, I'm such a sports fan that when I had Super Nintendo, even PlayStation, all my video games were all sports.
Oh,
I had
absolutely. I
I
still do
had
that. What are you talking about?
so look, so my Super Nintendo, I had King Griffey Jr. Major League Baseball, King Griffey
Oh,
Jr.
that
when he
was my
won,
jam. That was my shit
Frank
right
Thomas
there.
Baseball, I had
Oh,
NHL
bro,
95
you
and
taking me back.
96, I had NBA Live 95 96, I had Madden 95 96, I had what was the other game I had? There was another game that I had. So those are the games. And then for the PS2, NBA Live 2003, Tiger Woods 2003, Madden '06, um, MVP Baseball 2005. Then of course
Oh,
all the
did you
SmackDown
play the
games.
college version of it? MVP
Oh
baseball,
no,
the college version?
no.
Oh,
2005. That's the best baseball game ever. That game,
oh
man, that game is
man.
good. So yeah, for me, as far as watching sports, I man, I love it. Like I actually was in the process of working on doing a live reaction to classic NBA games. I did it a few times on TikTok. Like again, I'm from Chicago. Like I watched all 6 of the Bulls championships. all 6, not 1, not 2, all 6. I lived through that, so I wanted to do a live reaction of that and everything of just 90s basketball. But yeah, man, I'm a sports fan. You throw boxing, wrestling, and MMA into that, so I'm a sports guy, man.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. That's good to know. So let me guess. Let's see. Cubs, Bulls, of course, Bears, Blackhawks,
White Sox.
White Sox. Oh, you changing it up.
Oh no, those are the actually we got more teams. The Sky, was
Well, I
it
was just talking about
the
your
Chicago
favorite
Fire?
teams.
Oh, my favorite teams: Bulls, Blackhawks, Bears, White Sox.
White Sox. Are you one of those guys that walk around talking about the Bears? I can't do the accent.
Nah. You know what's crazy? I actually, real story. So when the Bears won the Super Bowl, I was 3 going on 4. I vaguely remember elements of that, and the reason why I remember it is when the fridge was at WrestleMania 2.
Oh yeah.
So that's how I remember it. So experiencing that, I've actually witnessed all the Chicago championships from the Bulls, all 6 of the Bears, the Blackhawks, the White Sox, and the Cubs.
That's right. The
So
White
I've
Sox did. It was back in the mid
oh 5,
2000s. They
oh
they
05.
they beat the Astros, right?
Yeah. And what's cool
Yeah.
about that is that I actually have the championship T-shirts of the Cubs and the White Sox. Still, never worn them.
That's crazy.
Never worn them.
They got the Cubs have a chance to win another one. Did they make the playoffs this year?
The Cubs, yeah, they're going to be in the playoffs this year.
I'm just grateful that I've got to at least see my teams win championship. Let's see. 2 years ago, I got to watch the Texas Rangers win. 2011-12, I got to watch the Mavericks win, beat the Heat, beat the super team Heat.
Yeah.
I got to watch 2 Ravens Super Bowls. I've seen the Texas Longhorns win a national championship in 05. Which one am I missing? Let's see. We got baseball, basketball, pro football, college football. I've seen Terrence Crawford is my favorite boxer. I've seen Vander Holyfield, who's my all-time favorite boxer. I've seen him win multiple championships. I got to watch him beat Mike Tyson, even though he got his ear bit off. Yeah.
Hey, I tell people this, and it's not bragging, but it's now in 2025, like I really appreciate that. Like, damn, I actually got to watch this. I got to
Yes,
watch
man.
Michael Jordan in his prime win 6 titles. Like seeing how people react to it, I'm like, bro, I lived this. Like here's the thing. I was watching all those games every year. Like this wasn't just playoff. Like you guys outside of Chicago, you got the playoffs and everything. No,
No, not even.
every
Not even.
oh yeah,
I
you
don't
got the
know.
superstation then.
I know Bars is up there in New Jersey, so I don't know how it worked. But down here in Oklahoma, we had WGN, so we
Yeah, you
got
got
to
the
see all the
superstation.
Bulls games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, I look back and I'm like, man, and the thing is to think about it at that time when he was at his peak, you also got to remember Oprah Winfrey was the worldwide leader as far as interviewers. She was based
Yeah.
in Chicago. So you had that element of pop culture here, and it's like, and then you had the movies and everything being filmed here. So that was my whole childhood. And I'm like, damn, this is fun. And when people ask me questions about that, I love talking about it because it's not so much, oh, Jordan's the greatest, which I do think he's the greatest of all time, but it's
Yes,
more
he's the
so
GOAT.
like,
Stop. These
I know,
LeBron fans don't know what they're talking about.
I
Michael
know.
Jordan is the
But
GOAT.
when I like to share the story of I remember when they won the title and where I was at. Like I was 9 years old. True story. I was 9 years old when they won their first title. I was with my mom, my dad, my aunt, her son, and my cousin that stayed above us. We went and drove all through downtown. Like just
I
driving.
know.
So,
It's crazy.
yeah. My 15-year-old cousin got out the car and just walked. We didn't see him for like 3 days. We were like, where the hell you went? Oh, I just went out. Like, what the fuck? Where you went? We didn't see you. And it was sad because, of course, the looting and everything.
Uh-huh.
And my mom, she took me to all 3 Bulls championship rallies. And the first
Nice.
one, my mom wrote, I took my son to the Bulls championship rally. I went to school the next day because it was towards the end of the school year. I handed it to the teacher. The principal and the teacher excused it. I didn't get an absent. They excused it.
That's how you know it's big time. That's big time.
They're like, all right, yeah, whatever. I was like, all right, cool. So, man, that was good times. And, looking back and thinking of this and fast forward now where I'm talking about this and then wrestling and those memories and everything. That's why, I know you guys are wrapping up real quick. That's why it's important. And if you're watching this, man, just have fun with this, man. This is escapism. This isn't an identity or anything like this. Like all 3 of us are sharing our love, our passion, and just our fun of escaping into the world of professional wrestling and seeing these wacky, crazy characters tell these interesting stories that for an hour, 2 hours, we can take our mind off of what's happening in the world and everything. And that's all it is.
Yeah. Number one, I will say this real quick. You being able to watch Michael Jordan win those 6 championships, that's the feeling I got when I finally got to watch Dirk Nowitzki get his. That is the feeling that I got. Although I don't live in Dallas, so I couldn't go to the championship rally. But the same feeling that you felt, I remember exactly where I was when Dirk finally got his. I was holding my brand new daughter, laying in the bed, watching the game, like just I was so excited. So yeah,
You know
man.
what? I actually bought their championship hat and their shirt. I have it in my closet. The
Bulls?
Mavericks. No, the Mavericks.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I was happy that they beat that damn Miami Heat team.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And this
But
dude
man,
next to me is
it's
a Lakers fan, so he's bandwagon.
oh,
Um
sorry.
real,
I'm
real quick
sorry.
before I'm just gonna skip over that real quick.
Oh man, that's funny.
No,
But you know what? But you know
no.
what? It's
Nah.
you know what? Stuff like this is fun. I do believe, like we
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, as far as like Bischoff and Santino, and even in professional sports, Stephen A. Smith, we have too many
Oh my
talking
gosh,
heads
that
of these
guy.
industries that are contrarian narcissists, that they've taken the fun out of discussing sports and just chatting about sports. That you know, it's crazy because the culture has like adopted talking about sports like it's an identity when it's just
Mhm.
chatting it up and fun and
Yeah.
everything. Like, bruh, they ain't paying us to watch these damn games for the amount of money they're making. They should at least be giving us, all these billions of dollars. We should be getting at least 10% or 5% of what they make for just watching their damn program. So it's, that's the unfortunate thing of the society we live in, man. There's too many contrarian narcissists. That's
Don't
ruined
get me started on
fandom.
Stephen A. I could go on and on and on about Stephen A. That guy
Oh God,
is
me too.
never
Me
mind.
too.
Never mind. Hey, real quick, before I wanted to ask you about something real quick. I meant to do that earlier in the show and it just slipped my mind. So me and Bars were having a conversation the other day about uh WrestleMania going to Saudi, right? And we're talking about how AEW can actually counter program WrestleMania by having their own big program here in the States. Because we understand like a lot of these alternative promotions, they follow the WrestleManias because they do
Yeah.
their own shows based around WrestleMania. So how cool would it be for AEW to do that for the alternative promotions, correct? But we were
Yeah.
talking about WWE having like these contracts with these different arenas and stuff like that. How does that work with like Chicago having, we know WWE is always at the Allstate Arena. What about the United Center?
Yeah, it's so the contract situation. Brief story. Vince McMahon pretty much bogarted his way into the Allstate Arena from Vern Gagne and the AWA. Like he bogarted his way in there. So that's a whole other thing. But yeah, I WB has an exclusivity uh, agreement with Allstate Arena, but AEW has somewhat of an exclusivity agreement with in Hoffman Estates, not Chicago. Now Arena. Hoffman Estates is like 40 minutes from Chicago. That ain't Chicago. So you got that, and then with the United Center, Um, they haven't been there since All Out 2023. So I mean, that's the best arena to do a show like that. If they did, because I know Tony Khan was asked about it. As far as he kept on mentioning Revolution 2027. I think if you're gonna have an alternative or something that's different from um, when WWE's in Saudi, the one, I mean, there's a few places you can have it in New York, you can have it in Philly, um, you can have it in Texas, but I think where AEW was founded at and how it was founded at with the All In, which All In was in Chicago, I think
Mhm.
that's the perfect place to put that super show. If you're gonna do a big show, have AEW Revolution here in Chicago at the United Center. You're gonna sell out.
Yeah, I think that would be the perfect opportunity to show even the most diehard WWE fans saying, "See, we've been telling you that we're the alternate, and now we're showing you." While the
Yeah,
company that you love is over in Saudi Arabia, we're over here running a show for
yeah,
everybody to be able to watch
yes,
and
and
attend.
mm, yeah, and the thing is that that's what people don't realize, and I'm glad several content creators and media people, when it was announced that they were gonna do the WrestleMania in Saudi, they were bringing up like, hey, before you think about, oh man, I'm gonna buy my tickets and go to Saudi, it's like, no, you need to learn their customs because our customs and their customs are worlds apart.
Oh yeah,
And what is nothing here is a major offense over there, and you might find yourself, incarcerated for like 5 years for something that here, which is not even a citation or something. So it's like you need to really learn the customs before you go over there. But
that
um,
and you need to. I hope you're paying attention to the news because you never know what kind of war is going on over in the Middle East either.
yes, yes, yes. So it's really I'm looking forward to what AEW has up their sleeves for that year.
Well, Bars, you ready to close us out?
Yeah. So I really, really, and I know Dub can really attest to this. Really enjoyed the conversation. We could do this probably all
Appreciate it.
night for sure.
Yes,
But
yes.
unfortunately, I know I
We
gotta
got to
be
get some
up.
shut eye.
I gotta be up at
Got that
work.
9 to 5 to get to.
Yeah, we really, 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 really appreciate you coming on the show.
Man, I appreciate
Um,
it, man. I love the
and
work you guys are doing, man. Keep up the great work.
we appreciate it.
You're
We
you're doing you're on the right path, man.
Yeah, and we are motivated by you, people like you, light skin, amongst other folks, you know what I'm saying, that we admire as far as this content creating journey. We appreciate y'all. You know what I mean? There's gonna be a lot more of y'all that we're gonna be calling on the show. And I like this state of wrestling address. And I feel like it's good for us to do this, like maybe if we could do this like towards the ending of the month, every towards the ending of every month, and then we have somebody else different on the show. Like we had Dedrian, maybe we could bring in Chris. We could bring in a few other
Chris would shut
folks.
this show down.
Yeah,
That's why y'all both laughing because you know it's true.
I wouldn't say shut down, but yeah, you would have to check your notifications. Yeah, from your social media platforms. Yeah, I'll just say that.
Yeah, I
Hey, we love you,
trust me.
Chris. We love you, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And he
Oh
knows
man.
because as soon as the subject of WWE comes up, it's game over.
Yeah, yeah. See, I use the Ahmad Rashad type approach, where it's like, hey, this. Yeah, yeah, he's Paul Mooney. That, you know what? He's the Paul.
I was gonna say
boom.
Stephen A. Smith, but we'll go with
Oh
that
no,
one.
he Paul Mooney. He boom. That
Straight to the point. Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but I think it would be dope to do that. Maybe even have more of a round table where we have more than just one guest. We have a panel. You know what I'm saying? Maybe like at least five of us. You know, five of us on the panel. I believe I could get up to like about. I could get more than five actually. Cause I know my program connects to Zoom as well. Cause I see the Zoom button
Hmm.
right here, so I can get a pretty penny as far as who I could get, to be on the show with us. So maybe not
I
that
think I
might
can get up to 5 on StreamYard too.
yeah. Yeah, maybe that might be something we want to think about moving forward. But continue this blueprints what we're doing right now, state of wrestling address, and have
This
different
was
people
fun.
on.
This was
Yeah,
fun.
but
This was
Yeah,
actually very
absolutely.
therapeutic, man.
mhm,
Not that I like. Oh man, I'm stressed out or anything. But this was just very relaxing and conversational. Very conversational.
yeah. So
As you can tell, we are always willing to learn. That's why I was asking you the questions about like how to watch these alternative promotions, and
Yeah.
because I always want to learn and I always want to continue to watch new
Yeah.
things. Like
You know what?
Ladybug put us on Ashe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I'll give you this tip. You guys are very fortunate where you are because when I started, I had nobody to look to or anything. So I was
mhm,
grassroots by myself. Like
mhm,
there wasn't like you got a duo and Chris and I had nobody. I was just navigating by myself like a lone shark, just going through. It's like all right, I'll find this person, this, and went that route. But man, um, the one tip I can tell you, and for anybody that's watching, whether it's podcasting or just life in general, always learn. If you're always learning, you never get old.
mhm,
And that's one of the reasons why I'm very fortunate of the growth of City of Wrestling, formerly known as House of Wrestling, but the growth of City of Wrestling and just people invited me, like you guys invited me on podcasts and everything. Like I haven't, I pray I never get to the point, but I know it's not in my heart to like, oh yeah, I'm on this. I really, I'm grateful for this. Like I'm just a wrestling fan that's sharing my fandom. So when I get these invites, I'm like, wait a minute, you want me on your podcast? Like it, oh, okay. Like, man,
mhm.
and it's a humbling experience that, you know, looking back at like when I was posting when I had 45 subscribers on City of Wrestling, and now I'm at 50. What the hell am I at? 14? I think 1400 or something. I don't know. I lost count. And looking back at like the early days and when just grassroots, and it's like, man, okay. So when I see like you guys doing the grassroots, like it reminds me of myself, and it's like, all right, you guys got it. You got it. You'll do it. So it's always learn and just yeah, man. This is very humbling, man. I appreciate this.
No doubt, man. No doubt.
absolutely.
Like we appreciate y'all, man. We appreciate everybody that comes on the show. We appreciate you, man. And we know this is not going to be your last time on the show. We know this is not going to be your last time. There's going to
I
be
know.
more that we do moving forward. Um, this has given me a lot of ideas. We could do debates. You know what I mean? We could do a bunch of other things, just to spice up the show a little bit more and give people, not only our people that are watching on Facebook and on YouTube, but also the people that are listening on Spotify. We have a very heavy following on Spotify and Apple Music. I mean, Apple Podcasts and iHeartRadio. And like giving them more, than just us, critiquing wrestling promotions all the time. Hey, maybe even doing a documentary or two. You know what I'm saying? Like, grabbing somebody and doing our own personal documentary. I think this can be all in the works, you know what I mean, moving forward. But like I said, we appreciate you, man. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Know what I mean,
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
this ain't gonna be the last. Looking forward to working with everybody else that we have networked with in the past within Wrestle Talk and other social media platforms.
Once a friend of the show, always a friend of the show. Remember that, Dadrian.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
You
you, man.
supported
I
us
feel the
before
love.
we even became a podcast, letting us on your platform on TikTok, and then even you coming up on either mine or his lives on TikTok. So you've always been A1 day one with us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Like I said, man, there's a scripture, never forget your humble beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget, real quick, I know it, real quick. When I started City of Wrestling, it was out of um, my dad was dealing with diverticulitis, and he had myasthenia gravis, so his lungs collapsed. So he wound up having surgery where he had a colostomy bag for like a year. So again, this is during the pandemic and everything. So stop driving, lift everything. All right, what am I going to do? It's like, you know what? I should start reviewing wrestling. So the City of Wrestling was birthed out of, dealing with something very severe and everything. And I think people can relate to watching any form of entertainment to get them through something that they were going through severely and everything. So I think that's why it's, you know, very personal. But when I see you guys started up and everything, I was like, all right, this, you, you got it. And the thing is that what helps grow in the in content creating, if you're watching this, what helps growing, never have the attitude that somebody's your competition. You have competition, but don't look at them as your competition. Focus on improving your brand and your graphics and videos and everything. Always keep making um, improvements because the tortoise and the hare. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the tortoise always won. He may be in the slowest or what have you, but the tortoise always won. So that's my mindset. But man, this has been fun, and I know it won't be the last time.
If there's one thing that I could tell you that would never change, is that Bars is gonna always be him. I'm gonna always be me, and we're gonna always tell it how we feel, regardless of how anybody else feels about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
If I want to sit here and say, you know what, I love WWE, that's just my opinion. You ain't gotta like it, but it's mine, right?
yeah.
That's not what I'm saying, but you get what I'm saying. So we always gonna be we we always gonna be ourselves. We're gonna be ourselves, regardless.
Yeah.
And I say that because I was reading your message that you left when I sent you the video of the 100 streams and stuff, and you put on that "always be yourself." There's one thing that would never change, is that we gonna always be ourselves.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that before we go. Like, that's, I believe, what the people like about us so much is that we just chill. We just having fun. Like, we do take this serious, and our goal is monetization, and our goal is to make some revenue off of this. But I feel like also too that as long as we continue to do what we do and not think about that, it's all going to come into play eventually. You know what I mean? And I also feel like, it's destined for us. Like, we're putting in the work. We're going to continue to put in the work. We're going to continue to work with other content creators, and we're going to continue to evolve. And that's our purpose: evolve. Not, not be so hypocritical, but
Hmm.
evolve and stay humble. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Stay humble. You know, but yeah. So with that being said, we appreciate you, bro, once again for being on the show with us today.
Thank you,
Y'all know
man.
what time it is. That was our State of Professional Wrestling address. We hope you guys enjoyed it. We will be back again very soon. Make sure you tune in Friday, where we got Blade Brown on the show. Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Blade Brown will be on the show with us, and we'll be live. So this is your boy, the insightful one, Scott Bars, Wrestling Media, the dynamic Salute, Darkwing Dub, and our boy, special guest, Dedrian City of Rasslin. We'll be back with another one, Ring Ropes and Turnbuckles.
Following podcast, scheduled for one fall. Introducing first, they are the Internet Podcast.